walking out to the car. I got my curry, naan bread, poppadoms, fucking poppadoms blew away into the road. They just blew away into the road. I was just like, oh, fuck this.
Be another half hour to go back in and get some more.
I got down the steps.
That's a nightmare, man.
The woman behind the counter even went, watch poppadoms, it's windy. You know what I mean? Yeah, I'm alright. And got like 10 steps down. They were
Watching poppadoms, it's windy.
That's thinking, shut up, you know, bed.
Yeah, I was just like, well, obviously, and then got there and just watched them
Like a frisbee.
Yeah, straight into the road.
Yes, people, welcome back to the Wolves Supplement Podcast. Today we are joined, as always, with my own Matt. We've got Tom on this podcast today and James Power, mixed martial artist. Obviously, you've got your own gym as well. I've only known you for, about a year?
Yeah,
and I was hoping to get to know you before you got into the fight and stuff like that. First question I wanted to ask you was, what were you like in school? Were you like a hard nut, or were you a quiet kid? Because I feel like you were probably more of a quiet kid.
Yeah, you'd be right, mate. Yeah, I was like really quiet at school, and probably from like maybe like year 8, year 9 onwards, mate, I was super chubby as well.
What,
so
yeah?
like like super chubby, and I stayed like that till probably I was like 18,
Right.
19. Yeah, something like that, probably about 18, I think. Yeah.
How
So I
chubby are we
started-
talking here? Like,
Oh yeah, I was chubby. Like I got all the nicknames. yeah, so I got a thick skin pretty quick.
What was
Yeah.
the worst nickname you got? Or what was the nickname you got?
Porky.
But
Yeah, I got called Porky a lot. Yeah.
Do they say that to you now? I don't
No,
know.
not at
Wonder
all.
why.
Did you do well in school and that then, or were you?
Mate, I
always
did all
into
right.
fitness and-
I always like did all right academically from like little effort. So like I wouldn't get like amazing grades, but it'd never be bad enough, to get in trouble.
Yeah,
Just kind of
yeah.
coast along with like C's and everything, but like
Yeah.
do zero revision, and just coast at that. I did the same really like at college and stuff as well. Like I never really knew what I wanted to do, so I didn't put
Right.
any effort into anything.
So when did you get into MMA?
Well, I started kickboxing. I went to Sheffield Uni,
Right.
and that was, funnily enough, the year that like I decided to try and lose weight, and that's how I
Right.
found kickboxing.
Nice.
So I started going to the gym. I lost a decent bit of weight, and then I plateaued pretty quick.
Yeah.
Just because like I definitely still wasn't eating right, and I was just doing random workouts at the gym, but I hated it. I hated
Right.
lifting weights.
Yeah.
I hated going for a run. Like I just detested it. So I wasn't pushing myself.
Yeah.
So I was like, I need to do something else. And then you got a free kickboxing class on the membership I had there. So I went to that and I loved it. I was terrible at it, but I loved it. And then after a few weeks, the guy who ran the sessions was like, oh, you're coming on, like you should actually come to my proper gym, like where I train the fighters. So I was like, all right, sound. So I went to that, mate, and then he threw me straight into a sparring session with like pro fighters and that. And I got my head kicked
So
in.
how old were you? Like 18,
I've been
19?
18,
Is
yeah, I
that,
think
that's
18.
late, isn't it, to start?
Yeah, really late to start, mate. Yeah,
So obviously you learn most of your skills when you're younger, don't you?
Yeah.
Because your brain's not fully developed and everything like that. But
yeah, absolutely.
That's late, isn't it?
Yeah, really
yeah,
late.
I'm interested to know like what it was about. So you said you didn't like weightlifting and that kind of side of fitness. What was it about stepping into the combat sport that really like hooked you to kind of continue and make that change with your fitness?
I don't know, to be honest, mate. Like, I think it gave me like a bit of self-confidence, a bit of self-worth maybe. I was doing it and I was like, oh, I'm actually like starting to get all right at this. Like, I could see the improvement pretty quick, which I think like probably gave me the buzz then. That like, when I first go in and they're showing you how to kick, like I couldn't kick above my own shin. Do you know what I mean? Like height-wise. And then like after a few weeks, like you're throwing them to the body and stuff, and I'm like, oh, I've like clearly got better.
Yeah.
So I think that kind of like
That
like
actual
made me
tangible kind of
Yeah,
progress
yeah, you
there.
can really see it.
yourself.
Yeah, and like it's hard to explain, but like some of the lads that are trained, like Marsh trained with me a few times, like he loves it. And I think he just like chasing that like progression, and you make quite big leaps at the start.
Yeah.
So it's like quite addictive almost in that sense. And then like watching the fights as well, because like once I started, I was like, oh, let's have a little look at this.
Yeah.
So I started like watching like old K1 fights and stuff like that, and like seeing some of the guys, and I was like, oh, this is sick. Like it was class.
Yeah.
So I got properly into it then.
Would you say that you were naturally gifted, or would you say that you worked hard?
I definitely worked hard, mate.
Yeah.
Like I've played sports like my entire life.
Yeah,
to be
yeah.
fair to myself, like played football as a kid,
Yeah,
rugby, all sorts. So I've always been like reasonably sporty, but not like exceptional at anything.
Sporty and porky.
Yeah, that's it, mate. Absolutely. So just worked hard at it, mate. Yeah,
Right,
like, I got
yeah.
obsessed with it, and I'd like just do it all the time, like shadowbox in my room and all sorts.
So what did you do after uni then? Did you go down that line, or did you end up getting a job?
No, so I dropped out of uni after the first year.
Yeah.
Because I still didn't really know what I wanted to do. I was just kind of winging it.
What did you study?
I studied graphics, funnily enough. Yeah, and I didn't enjoy it one bit.
No.
Quite the career change.
Yeah,
a bit of a
from
polar
graphic
opposite,
design
yeah.
to
I've had some mad careers, to be fair. So I left that, came home, ended up wanted to do work with dogs. So I did a animal management course and specialised in canine behaviour. Got a degree in that, and then
Could do we all right, mate.
mate, Rufus is sick.
He's sick,
Yeah,
boy.
he's
He's a little bit loose, man.
little bit
he
naughty.
has his moments.
Yeah.
We'll get power in, he'll fucking change him quick, won't he?
So I did that, got the degree, couldn't find a job, ended up working at Morley Emergency Vets as a kennel hand there. Did that for about 6 months, and when I joined up, I was like, just want to earn as much money as I could. So I'd do loads of shifts, but I said to him like, I have a dog at home at the time.
Yeah.
So I was like, I need like a 2-hour gap in my day to nip home and walk my dog. I was walking my mum's dog for her as well at the time, and then I started walking a few other people, and they're all giving me like, like a tenner here and there. And before I knew it, mate, like I was walking like 3 or 4 dogs at a time, sound, and like seeing the potential for income there, and like this is way better. Like I'd well rather do this than work for somebody else.
Yeah.
So then I started to build it up, got little business cards made for dog walking, and then quit the kennels and went for that full time really, and then I ended up progressed to me getting a doggy daycare centre.
What was that called?
Power Hounds.
Ah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Is that where the dog comes from on the logo?
Yes, it is actually. Yeah.
Sick.
Yeah. So I had that for a few years, and then in COVID, unfortunately, we didn't get any of the government grants, so I wasn't getting help with the rent. And me and my brother worked together at that business, and we were coming away at the end of some of the days, mate, because nobody needed us anymore because everyone was at home. So like, even though people were buying puppies initially, they didn't have to go to work, so they'd have the puppy at home all day with them. So I went from people who worked an office job sending me a dog maybe 5 days a week to sending it like once every other week for a bit of socialisation.
Right.
Shows done it the extent to like all businesses that were affected at that
Yeah,
time. Like,
Oh, yeah.
you wouldn't have even really I would have never even really considered that. Like dog walking, like that's.
I can't believe you were doing that
Yeah, I did
in
that.
COVID. I thought you'd have had your gym years.
Yeah. No, so I started the gym during that. So before that, while I had the dog place, I was already coaching though.
Right.
Like I coached
so,
at another gym, but it wasn't my gym. I just took some of the classes there.
Right, fairs.
Yeah. So that was all going on at the same time. But then, while I still had Power Hounds, I started the gym because I started the gym just before COVID.
Right.
And then COVID came along and that killed my dog business. But luckily, the gym was all set up properly, so I got all the government grants through that because we were all properly on the lease deeds and everything for that.
It seems like it's such a juxtaposition. It's like you've got on one side like a little fat lad who loves drawing with his pencils, looks after dogs, playing with it, but he'll also break your face as well. It's just like it seems such a weird transition from one to the other.
Yeah, it was mad. I think like in a weird way, I suppose like the martial arts kind of like give me self-confidence and stuff, and like let me be myself more.
Yeah.
Whereas I think like obviously through school and things like that, maybe not as much, It's
Would you say like you had a positive experience in school then? Because I feel like you've mentioned kind of that sort of like you used martial arts to build your confidence. Were your confidence low when you were at school? Did people kind of?
Not necessarily. No, it wasn't like I wasn't like making it out like I got bullied really bad.
No.
Like it wasn't bad. You know what I mean?
No,
I was all right. Like I was mates with martial at school and stuff. But like definitely wouldn't say like my favourite days. Like my favourite days are definitely the ones I'm living now.
Yeah.
100%.
What was the hardest bit of starting your own gym up?
Mate, the renovation was unbelievable. Like,
You were at the same place that you're at now?
yeah.
Right.
So it was a bathroom showroom before,
Ah.
and the guy who I rent off basically said, "Look, I'll give you for this much a month, as is, or we strip it bare, give you a bare unit, but it says I'm going to match the price of whatever the square footage is for the other units in the area, which obviously I'd already looked at and I knew I couldn't afford.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'll take it as is and I'll do it myself. So mate, what a job that was. Like I was training for fights, running the dog business, and then like on a night time, so I'd like get up for work to do the dog stuff, and I'd have gone for a run or something before.
What time were you like getting up at?
Mate, like 5 o'clock.
Right,
so I'd get up, go for a run, a train, go open up the dog yard, because we'd open up at like 7:30.
Yeah.
So I'd open that up. Then my brother would come down a little bit late in the morning. I'd go train in the afternoon, come back, work again till early evening, go up to the gym, train again, and then I'd go up there on an evening and start renovating
just
it.
like
just
because you
an
haven't
hour.
done enough through the day,
Yeah,
just
mate,
finish
honestly,
it
I
off
like
with
that,
some
like a zombie,
renovations.
just like hammering tiles off the wall and putting them into like rubble sacks.
That's insane.
So I had some people come help me at
Yeah.
the start, but like I was still up there on my own a lot of the nights because I like a lot of work to do.
Fair fucks, man.
Did you? So you said you were running then? Did you learn to like running a little bit, or
Just do it out of necessity, mate, to be honest.
it's something you do.
I feel like so some fighters don't run, like it's not like I don't think it's needed, but like I feel better about my fights when I've been running.
yeah, that's
Like,
part of it. Though, isn't it?
Yeah, and I feel like it's a proper trackable way of managing, like seeing your fitness go up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it gives you that confidence. Like if I do a run now at a camp, like say like 22 minutes for a 5K, by the time I'm close to fighting, I'm doing it like 19 minutes or something like that. I'm like, right, I've got way fitter. So
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
like a big
You've
difference.
got the
in
evidence
time.
there, aren't you,
Yeah,
to back you and
that's
again
it.
build your confidence. And put you
Exactly.
in that right
So
place.
then going into the fight, I'm like, yeah, I know I'm fit. Like I can push the pace for all 3 rounds, no problem. And the evidence is there in front of me. So you're not like doubting yourself in the
Yeah,
back of
yeah.
your mind as much
Yeah.
anymore.
Callum did a lot of running, didn't he? He said on podcast.
Yeah, the only reason I was asking is just because like Tom Aspinall or whatever's like goes on record saying he don't do it because it's
Yeah.
like he just prefers to get his cardio from sparring, and he
Yeah.
said he thinks that's more useful because that's what he's doing in the thing.
Absolutely,
So
mate.
I just wondered whether that was the route you went down because like fuck running, or whether it were like you decided I'll do some running and
Yeah, no, and to be
whatever.
fair, I probably agree with him, to be honest. I just think for my own head, I've just got that used to doing it. I just
Yeah,
do
yeah,
it
that's-
out of that
that's what
like
it is,
kind of
isn't it?
habit and how it makes me feel.
Whatever
but
works for you.
I'd fully agree. I don't think you need to run to be a fighter. Like if you're getting enough hard training in, like that's keeping your heart rate elevated and burning calories or whatever your goal is with the run anyway.
it's
You
interesting.
don't need to.
I'm trying to think because obviously in terms of like gas tanks, like some of the best in the UFC love running though. Like Nate
Yeah.
Diaz, obviously,
Yeah,
Max Holloway. They're all like they've got unlimited gas tanks.
Yeah,
Tom
very true.
Aspinall just leathers everyone at first round, so you don't
We don't know yet. He's
yet.
not been tested yet, has he?
Um,
To know.
I imagine it's good, like, but
Yeah.
obviously we don't know. But
He moves
yeah,
like it's going to be good, doesn't he?
he's,
Yeah.
Like he's
yeah,
fast,
it's
isn't he?
ridiculous. For his
Speaking of
weight,
Tom
it's
Aspinall,
ridiculous.
he was at your fight, wasn't
Yeah, he
Yeah,
was
yeah.
actually, yeah.
Oh, nice.
What were it
Yeah.
like? Have you fought in front of them sort of names before? I presume there'll have been some big names at the last Cage Warriors event.
Yeah, I think I'm not sure if anyone was at the one I did in Rome, but the last one I did in Manchester, I think Tom was there again, Paddy and them were there. There's normally like a few UFC people there that have like fought on Cage
Yeah.
Warriors previously. They always go back and watch the shows,
Yeah, yeah.
you know, from time to time.
You could hear Paddy.
Yeah,
bet you
Get that Scouse accent
Yeah.
screaming across the ring.
You can't miss him, can you?
Yeah, well
Leon
noticeable,
Edwards was
isn't
there
it?
as well, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was. Yeah,
Yeah.
he had a lad fighting in the main event. The Nicholas, he coaches his gym. Yeah,
How does it?
yeah. He's like runs most of the sessions
Right.
there, I think.
Who were the lad who Paddy were there with?
He was second to last fight, wasn't he?
Luke
Yeah.
Riley or am I
That's
Yeah,
it,
we'll
yeah,
be
yeah.
Luke
Luke
Riley.
Riley, yeah.
Yeah, he's
There was-
class to be fair.
There
isn't
was
he? He's
another
good.
lad
Yeah.
before in one of the earlier fights before you fought as well.
that Liam Gittins as well, and
Yeah.
there's Adam Cullen. They all fight out at the same gym.
Right.
So he'll have been there
I
to
think they had a
support
good
them
night,
boys.
didn't they?
Yeah, they
They all
usually do.
won.
To be fair,
If I remember correctly, I could be wrong, but
yeah, I think Adam lost. I think that Liam won.
I was wrong.
And Luke Riley won.
It was
So
a good
I
night,
think they're
just not
like
for
two
Adam.
or
Yeah.
two
Bad night.
losses, 1 win. Sorry, 2 wins, 1 loss, or
Yeah,
something like
yeah.
that for the gym.
Yeah.
There were some
And
good
that-
fights though, weren't there?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Jesus
man.
Christ.
Yeah.
yeah.
Paddy's weight always mystifies me when you watch because he proper yo-yos, doesn't he? For
Yeah,
the
he does,
like, he
yeah,
gets
yeah.
he gets whenever you ask him, he's like, I just love my food, lad.
Yeah.
And he just eats like a massive size, and then obviously he's on it when it comes to camp time. But
He
to
were
be able
chunky
to-
overnight.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, well if you watch
Wasn't
any of his off
Had quite a
season,
fluffy face, yeah.
like or out of prep videos,
Yeah.
he's pretty big, isn't he? And then like, and he just don't come after me, but he just looks really fat.
Yeah.
But then when he's actually in the ring, he's lean, he's fit, he's everything.
He looks sick
ridiculous.
at that Ferguson fight, and he's shaped like a man.
Yeah.
Like, it looks unreal, to be fair.
Yeah,
Really well.
He's on his way down though, isn't he, Ferguson? He's probably.
Oh
Well,
yeah,
getting a
yeah.
contract, will
Well,
he,
he's nearly
realistically?
40, isn't he, Ferguson?
Yeah,
is he 40?
he's
I don't
he's
know.
old now. Yeah, he must be, surely.
I
He
mean,
looks like it.
the fight that everyone would have loved to see would have been him versus Khabib when it was like the prime thing. That would have
Yeah,
been
absolutely.
an interesting one because Ferguson were really his fighting style is really odd. Like I don't know, he's just no one else like him, and obviously Khabib was so dominant at that time. That'd have been a very, very good fight, I think, in that era. But sadly, it all
Speaking of
never happened.
cutting weight on this topic, we were talking before we started rolling. Obviously, when it comes to you cutting weight for the fights, you were saying earlier you sit around like kind of 83, 84, and you cutting down to what, like
70 kilos.
about 70,
like that,
70 kilo. Like, what actually is that like? Like, realistically, because you hear all these horror stories, people sitting in saunas, sleeping in plastic bags, and
like you might have done
tell me about that, man. I want to know like what it's actually like.
Yeah, so the dieting bit's not too bad to like the last few weeks. So like, start at like 83 once I know I've got a fight. I'll get that down to around like 80 reasonably quickly, and then just kind of try and slowly taper down. So what they say is, the advice they give you is like 10% of your body weight you can do. So like, if I'm fighting at 70, I need to hit fight week at 77 to make it smooth. And then supposedly you can recover all the water you lost, especially around your brain then. Like if you lose, so you don't draw as much water from your organs and your brain doing the 10%. You can do more, but apparently that's where like it starts to pull the water out from. So I'll try and get to 77 now. Whether I make it there or not's another thing. Sometimes I'm like 78 at the start of fight week, stuff like that. But I've not missed weight yet. But yeah, that last week is it's tough because it's like you're basically on the similar to like a bodybuilder really. You're on the basically like keto. So you're like high fat, high protein, zero carb, like you nil by mouth on carbs from the start of the week, and you're water loading and you cut your salts out as well. So I'm having like 10 litres a day from the 7 days out of the fight.
Jesus.
And then just drop it.
And then, literally just crash it. So, like, we weigh in Friday morning if we're fighting on a Saturday. So I'll keep 10 litres going in up until the Wednesday. And then on the Thursday morning, I'll drink 2 litres in the morning before 10 a.m. And then nothing else, because we normally weigh in on 10 a.m. on the Friday.
Right.
So then I'll do like a 24-hour fast. I'll have all my food in me by 10 a.m. as well.
Right.
And then I won't eat or drink anything then till the following morning. And then we sweat it out in the evening. It's the way I like to do it. So Wednesday night, I jump on the scales, and whatever I am, I've got to lose that weight overnight, really.
What kind of weight are you on that night?
Well, this time we just done, I rocked up at the hotel, and we were about 76 kilos.
Right.
So I had to lose 6 kilos. Yeah.
And in your head,
in a night.
That's
wild.
Sweat it out, yeah.
6 kilos.
How'd you
do
That's
that?
mental, isn't it?
So I've got a little sauna pod. So they have saunas at the hotels. They're really good cage warriors, to be fair with that.
Oh,
always
they
book
put
a
you up
hotel,
and- right.
They sort all that out, and they'll always try and choose one with a sauna, so you've got the option. And a lot of the guys you'll probably see do hot baths as well. It's supposed to be better. But I prefer the sauna pod, because like your whole body's in it. You're like sat in a little camping chair in this little like igloo with your head out, because my head's out. I don't feel like super claustrophobic, and I can like chat to people, watch TV.
Can stay in there. Well,
And I feel like I can stay in there longer. Yeah, it's a bit
Meanwhile,
more
you're there
tolerable.
just cooking.
Yeah, you literally are, mate.
fucking
Yeah, you're
wild,
just
that is
sweating,
crazy.
and you'll be sat in there with your sweatsuit on, and like there's a thing you can rub on your skin called Sweet Sweat. I think it's got something in it called like Orbaline or something like that. It basically heats your body up, so it makes you sweat quicker.
Right.
So you break a sweat a bit faster, and you just sit there and you just keep. So I'll sweat. I'll do it normally in like 45-minute stints. I'll sit in for 45 minutes, get out, dry off, check my weight, see how much I've lost. And then usually from that I can tell how much I'm going to lose every 45 minutes to an hour. And then I'll be like, right, I've got to do that X amount of times now, and then I'll make the weight. And I just do it, but always leave a little bit left to do in the morning, because I'll lose a decent bit in my sleep. But that varies from time to time. Like some of my cuts, I've lost like 1 kilo in my sleep, which is really good for me, obviously, when I'm getting to that final stages.
Is that from like going to the toilet or just a bit of
Yeah,
sweat?
I think you just lose some overnight. Yeah, I think like a lot of it's, I think, from just your breathing overnight. I think you lose a lot of moisture that way. And then whatever I've got left to do in the morning, I'll do first thing.
Yeah.
and then jump on the scales for like 10 a.m.
I know they're not like super healthy, but are you allowed to use diuretics, or are they banned?
No, I think you could use them.
You could use natural stuff, couldn't you? Like dandelion.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, you could use all that stuff. I don't, because like I think what they say is they try to tell you not to, because it's not really controllable in the sense like you don't know how you're going to react to it.
Yeah.
And you don't know when it's necessarily going to like leave your system as well. So like it might make you lose too much, and stuff like that. You can't really like decide when it's like, right, here's the cut-off point. I don't need to lose anymore. But you might start losing more water. You might need to carry on going to the toilet like a stupid amount of times.
Yeah, well, that's how like bodybuilders end up in problems, isn't it? Because they take too much,
right?
And then obviously because you're losing all those essential salts, the heart just packs in.
Yeah.
So obviously it's not good. But I just wondered if you were like you're allowed to use them.
Yeah, no, I think you can, and maybe some of the guys do. But Ross McHale does all my cuts for me. He has done since I turned professional. And he's always steered me away from having to use them. And like I say, we've not missed weight yet. So
if you don't need to,
that's
what's the point in
yeah.
risking it?
Save yourself some money as well.
There's a few bodybuilders who come in shop, and the amount of stuff they take like a week out from the show, it's absolutely wild.
Oh
the
yeah,
diuretics. They're already taking diuretics, and then they'll get like that Picomax that we sell, a natural supplement to drain even more water. And I'm just like, fuck me.
Yeah,
it's fucking wild.
That night before that sleep, then that must be rough.
Do you know what? It's not as bad. The worst one I ever had was in Belfast, right? Because in Belfast, the flu was over.
On the Guinness week.
no, I wish.
That's a diuretic.
We had
10 litres of Guinness leading up to it.
The red wine. So they put us in a hotel room. So we had 2 beds, but there was 3 of us. There was me, my main coach Cam, and then Charlie, who trains with me. He came over with us. So there's 3 of us in the hotel room, and he bought a camping bed to go at the side. So the first time I'd done like an hard cut, the first Cage Warriors fight in Belfast that I did.
How long ago was this?
Maybe a couple of years now.
A couple of years, right?
Yeah, I think so. And so I was doing the cut all right. Obviously, a lot of it was new to me. I'd sweated a bit out before, but not to this extreme.
Yeah.
And when it come to sleep at night, mate, honestly, my stomach was hurting already, so I find it hard to go to sleep. And then when I finally got to sleep, mate, they both snored.
Absolutely
I honestly, mate, the next morning I wake up and I was like, I don't even think I've slept. Like, I remember just laying there wide awake, and my throat was that dry every time I went to swallow. I felt like I was choking, like, 'cause it was just like sandpaper. And I was just like laying there thinking, like, what the fuck am I doing?
I bet you were thinking, I wish you lot didn't even bother.
That's the thing though, isn't it, with professional sports. There's a lot, especially fighting, there's a lot resting on that night before, because if you don't get a proper sleep, even like 2 hours less sleep than you'd normally get, it's been shown to hinder your performance. Big time. So if you're not sleeping, then you're probably anxious about the fact that you've not slept. How did you do in that fight?
Yeah, I won. I stopped him in the second round.
I presumed you won.
Yeah, because to be fair, it's not too bad, because if my sleep's bad that night, I know it'll probably still have a knock-on effect, but I'm assuming all the other fighters are kind of going through the same thing I am here.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we're probably all suffering a little bit with the sleep anyway. But then, obviously, once we've been on the scales, we go away, we rehydrate. I get a really good night's sleep that night, and then obviously we fight the following day, because it's just for the weigh-ins.
So you weigh in.
You fight the next evening.
So you can catch up, kind of.
Yeah, you've got like 30 odd hours till you fight, even later if you're fighting on the main event.
I suppose now, like, the more you've done it, you'll kind of relax a little bit more, just knowing what to expect. And
definitely.
Go on, sorry.
I was going to say, do you get nervous? Do you get nervous before you fight? Are you one of the people that you kind of get that, or you just chill about it?
Yeah, no, I definitely get nervous. Not really in the lead up too much anymore. I definitely used to at the start. Now I just generally get like the nerves on game day, but it's more like just wanting to perform well more than anything. I suppose similar to like what a footballer will get before a game. They're wanting to do well, they want to win. And that's the same for me. It's not necessarily like super like intense, but definitely at the start, like my first few amateur kickboxing fights, I was like, feel like I'm having a panic attack backstage. You feel like, what am I doing? Like, why have I said yes to doing this?
Have you got like a pre-match ritual in changing rooms? Do you put any music on, or do you just try and chill?
Not really, mate. To be fair, once like I'm a pretty chill guy, and then I'll joke with everybody, and like I'm pretty relaxed all the day. And then for me, like the switch is like once I've had my hands wrapped and like we start our warm up, that's when it's like, right, it's go time now, and we'll do like a 45-minute warm up, so it's quite intense.
Bloody hell, right.
Which is what I prefer to do, because like I think most of the year like we train for like 2 hours at a time, most of our sessions.
Right.
So like, and we spar at the end, and then it's when you're like fully warm, all your nervous system's firing. Like I've gone through all my little sequences in my head, the stuff I like to do, stuff I think he likes to do, defending it. So I like to make sure I've got loads of reps into that before I go out. So hopefully like it's fresh in my head. There's more chance of me doing it in there. And also like I don't think people realise like once they walk you out, like I was stood behind the curtain at the Manchester one the entire time the other lads were fighting. So you think 15 minutes for the fight plus the minute in between rounds.
Yeah.
Plus the time to get them out of the cage on their walkouts. The whole time I'm just stood behind the curtain waiting to go. So if I'd have done like a 10-15 minute warm up, I'd have been ice cold by the time I get in there.
True, actually. Yeah.
So I like to do like quite a hefty one.
To be stood there waiting.
Yeah.
Even though a 45-minute like warm up does sound like a
Sounds
lot,
mad,
you know what I
doesn't
mean?
it?
That's more than a lot of people will probably spend training just like in general.
Yeah.
Never mind before you're about to go to war. And
Because when we had Callum on, he was saying that because he barely does any, does he? He does like
said-
a little bit of touching pads and
Yeah, just a
whatever.
tiny bit, yeah.
But he mentioned that other people do these like intense warm ups and whatever.
Yeah, he
so
did.
Yeah, I think there's probably no right or wrong. I think it's what like
No,
suits the person, suits the
if you win it,
individual.
it don't matter.
So I know lads that definitely do like 10 minutes max, and they'd break a sweat in 10 minutes as well, and be like, right, I don't want to do anymore. Like I feel like I want to tire
Ready
myself
to go,
out.
yeah.
Yeah. So, but I know other lads that do it the same way that I do.
Yeah.
And that some I've seen lads like basically sparring with a sparring partner backstage before they go out. Like they're just having like a light spar before they
Trying
go
to
out.
get themselves switched on.
Yeah,
mentally for it,
yeah. Which is, you know, you see them doing, and they're doing like a mad amount of rounds, and you're thinking, what the doing? You know what I mean? It's mad.
Maybe it's intimidation.
Yeah.
just to bring it back a little bit in time, kind of before you're like waiting to go out then. So obviously we were talking about the cut before the fight.
Yeah.
And then you've got that 30 to kind of, 35 hour
Yeah,
period there where you're rehydrating and everything. What are you putting in your body at that point then? Like what are you eating?
So it's fluids first. So usually water with a little bit of electrolyte in to start with. We usually have like a carb gel ready to go as well. And then like Ross is pretty big on me having like some protein as well, but with like high carbs. So a lot of the time we're having to get it on the go because obviously we're fighting different cities. It's not like I'm just at home where I can just do like take all my usual stuff with me and like cook for myself. Normally we've got to get it on the go. So we'll normally get like just them kind of like recovery shakes where it's like decent amount of protein, but the carb content's really high and the fat content's usually pretty low. They're the kind of things that I'll ingest first, like all fluids. Because you've drawn so much fluid out of your body, you need to replenish that first before you eat. So I normally take that in the first hour to 2 hours, and then from there it's like just like carby meals, to be honest. Like you just need like the carbs in. Like Ross usually sends me like a list of like potential foods I could eat if I can get hold of them, and then he'll send me like a goal calories, a goal amount of fat, protein and stuff, and try and hit it as close
This
as
will
I
be
can.
at a hotel as well, obviously.
Yeah,
You're not going to be at home, are you? So
No, that's it. So a lot of the time I am having to like jump on Uber Eats and just either like find someone that'll deliver from a shop or just look and see what's like reasonably clean, like to a degree that I can order. You know, like somewhere does like, I don't know, like yogurts and berry bowls and stuff like that. I'm like, right, okay, yeah, like simple sugars, stuff like that. Get some of that in me.
Get back in.
Yeah.
And then you're fighting at about 80 then, like when you get in the ring you're about 80 kilos.
Yeah, most of the time I'm getting back up to now like anywhere between like 78.5 and 80 kilos now. Which is quite good.
10 kilo difference from stepping on the scales to then walking in the ring.
What
10
fight?
kilos heavier.
What category do you fight in?
Lightweight, so 155 pounds is the division, yeah.
Would you ever go up or down from that?
Probably not now, mate. No. So I started as a professional. I started fighting at welterweight, and I fought all my amateur MMA fights. At welterweight as well.
Did you?
Yeah, so the weight class above because I didn't cut as much.
Right.
So I like dieted down to the weight and then did like a kilo or two in water at the end.
Right.
But then when I started training with the lads at a higher level, like when I turned professional, the boys that are like at Cage Warriors level, European level, and like some of the lads at the UFC, training with some of the welterweights that are like at that level, I was just like, they were massive. Yeah, they were so much bigger. And like in the striking, you wouldn't always feel it, but like in the grappling, massively. Like as soon as they got older than me, I was like, oh my god.
What's
like,
the weight difference? Is it 5 kilo or something?
7. So like
7 kilo.
Yeah, it's 77 kilo for welterweight and it's 70 for lightweight.
So there, you're essentially fighting someone who probably walks around touching 90 kilo,
Easy. Yeah, some of these boys are like
Which is
big.
big.
Fuck
Yeah.
it, that's a big person.
It
Isn't it?
is, yeah.
Yeah, particularly if it's also like being lean as well. Like
Yeah.
that weight difference is massive. You
Yeah.
know, if you put like just a couple of kilos of lean tissue on, that's a big difference.
It's
So
huge.
Yeah, the strength is unreal. Like the difference in
Yeah.
that, like in the 2 weight
I
classes.
suppose you may as well. Well, you may as well fight. Everyone else is cutting that weight, so you may as well.
That's it, mate. You've got to do
Plenty
what
of
everyone else is
strength,
doing.
haven't
Like I speak to the missus about it sometimes. She's like, "Oh, wouldn't you rather just not?" And I was like, "Yeah, definitely." I spoke about it the other day. She's like, "What weight would you rather fight at?" And I'd rather fight at 80. Like when I diet down to 80 kilos, I feel like I'm fit. I move my feet well. I'm
Yeah.
strong. And my gas tank's really good, and I can eat. Like I can eat loads at that weight and like maintain that weight because of the amount of training we do. So I don't have to like diet super hard.
Yeah.
So I can almost like enjoy my life a little
body's
bit
just
as well.
happy
Do you know,
there,
like,
like,
and I'm happy there.
Yeah.
But if I'd fight another lad that walks around, even if he was like 2 kilos over that as his walk around weight, and that was truthfully that, I'd happily fight him at that. But like when he's cut down from like you say, like it'd
not
be
the
over
same,
90
is it?
to fight at that, they'd be dropping that,
Yeah.
that amount of weight down. It's like it's out of the question.
Different
They're
league,
just
innit?
absolutely
Suppose that,
massive.
yeah, they'll have more water weight, won't they, with them being heavier
yeah,
as well. So
there's no way. There's
The
no way.
chances of
you'd be
finding that opponent who'd kind of fit that remit for it to be a fair fight as well. I can
Yeah,
imagine a pool
no.
of people that in that.
That's the thing. People always try and find a way to get an edge, don't they? And that's why everyone says, "Oh, they need to get rid of this thing of them cutting weight so drastically for fights." They'll literally never be able to get rid of it because they'll change the goalposts and people figure out a way to gain an advantage, and they'll do something else extreme to do that. So like they just need to like let it be as it is. It is what it is, and it's just a part of the sport, unfortunately.
the thing is, everyone knows that though. It's not like it's a hidden
Yeah, yeah.
thing. Everyone knows that's the game. So they'll just do exactly what you've done, like just fighting the way below. So, so you're going to be now at the top end of the, you know,
Exactly.
lightweight category because
Yeah.
you're just doing the same thing the other lads are doing, just one down.
Yeah,
So it's not. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I think it's fine.
yeah.
It's
It just is
part
what
of
it is. Yeah, it's just
part
part
of
of
the
it.
game,
Yeah, that's it.
what were your amateur career like?
So amateur kickboxing, I had quite a lot of fights, and to be honest, mate, off the top of my head, I can't remember how many I've had
lot,
as an
then.
amateur, but quite a few. I won 4 amateur titles in kickboxing. I know how many I lost for definite because I always remember that. So I
Yeah.
lost 3 and I drew 1,
Right.
and then the rest I all won. I feel like I probably had like close to 20.
About 20 fights.
Yeah, about 20 as an amateur kickboxer.
When was you first?
Well, it was when I was at that gym in Sheffield. I had a fight for them, like after a few months of training, which is mad, by the way. Like I've never let anyone do that at my gym.
how old are we talking then? Because if you got into it when you were about 18.
Yeah, but at 18, 19, I'll have been when I had my first
so you
one.
went
yeah,
straight
jumped
in.
straight
They
in.
obviously did they see something in you, or is that
I
just?
think so, but
They must
also
have
I
done
just
to
think
put you in
like
that.
it was just mad. Like I say, like the first day he just threw me in sparring with pros. Some of the boys didn't even have shin guards on, mate, and they were like kicking me in the head and everything. And I was just like, what is going on? Like I say, when I say I got the shit kicked out of me that day, I properly got the shit kicked out of me.
a lot of lads
baptism
had
of fire.
never gone back after that.
Yeah, definitely. I think as well it was a little bit like if I don't go back, I'm look like a right pussy. So
Right.
I'm just like I've got to go back, even though like I probably deep down inside I probably didn't actually want to.
Yeah.
But obviously I'm happy that I did because
Give
like, I
yourself
love
a
what I
point to
do.
prove,
You know.
mate.
Yeah,
You
that's
went
it.
in, you stepped in the ring of fire, and you were just like, I'm here to stay.
Probably best
Yeah.
thing for you. Like obviously
Yeah.
looking back in hindsight. like,
Yeah, definitely. I feel like a lot of the route I've took to get to where I've got to has been tough in certain regards, but it's like definitely built me more resilience down the line. So, like for how I am now, like a lot of my fights, I normally like break the other guy. To be fair, before I get the knockout, it's normally like they're just kind of already giving up a little bit. Like, and I can feel that when we're fighting. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, he's wilting. Like I know it's coming. You know, like and he's looking for a way out.
Smell blood.
Yeah.
Does your adrenaline obviously adrenaline spikes? Does it start to spike as you see the opponent tiring?
Yeah, I just think like you know what's happening, and it
feel
definitely
it.
gives you an extra buzz. I get the same in the training room, to be honest. I'm a bit like that. Like
Yeah.
if I've got a training partner and we're drilling, and I see they start to get a little bit tired, like I'll be tired as well, but I won't show it. You know,
Yeah,
I'll still
yeah.
drill it like I
Right.
drilled the first rep and make myself do it like dead disciplined. And if I see anybody in the room, it don't have to be my partner. Either. It could be somebody else in the corner, out the corner of my eye. I see them like messing with the shin guard or like messing with the
Yeah,
glove. You know,
stalling.
like
Just
I
trying
need
to
the
catch a
toilet.
breather,
I'm going
like.
to a break. You know, try to get a break somewhere. I'm like, right, he's cracking, and then I get a buzz and I'll drill it even harder.
Really?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's better.
like it fires me up. Yeah, so then like obviously then they start seeing that, they try and keep pace, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna make sure I
Right.
outdo them in this, you know, like get
Yeah,
competitive
yeah.
with it. But I think that then obviously helps you for the fighting side of things, definitely.
So when did Cage Warriors come in?
A few years ago, I had, what was my record before I got in? I think I was 3-0, 3 wins. No
Is that as a
losses.
professional fighter, but not signed to?
Yeah, so I could just fight on any show at that point. I wasn't signed to anybody.
Right.
I'd had, I think it was 3-0. Yeah, I think I'd had 3 fights on the regional shows.
Right.
And I'd stopped those guys in the first round.
Yeah.
And then I was struggling to get opponents, to be honest. So like I'd been matched against one good guy. Like the first 2 guys I fought were shit. Like there's no two ways about it. Like they didn't even really belong in the ring with me. Like it was very easy. And then the next guy I was supposed to fight was from a very reputable gym, and he was good. And I'd seen some of his fights. I thought, oh, he's good. Like it's a worthwhile fight for me. A good scalp to take. And then he pulled out, and then they tried to replace the fight with some other guys who again were all right. They all dropped out. So in the end, I ended up with another opponent who, again, probably shouldn't have really been in the ring with me. So 3 fights in, yeah, it looked great on my record, like smashing these guys. But really, for me, it was like I still don't feel like I've been tested, like properly.
Yeah.
Like, what do I need to do to get that? And like, still don't think people would necessarily take you seriously, like the bigger promotions, because it's like, well, who have you beat? We want to know who the caliber of opposition you've faced. So then, like, from the back of the last one, my coach spoke to Cage Warriors, sent him a highlight reel. Said, look, we're struggling to get James matched. We'd be interested in joining your promotion and all that. And they saw the highlight reel, and then they were super keen on signing me. And then obviously everybody on Cage Warriors is good, like your European level. Like the guys get signed from there all the time to the UFC. So I knew it was like every fight would be an hard fight then.
Yeah.
So a big step up.
When did you move from kickboxing to MMA then?
It's quite a while ago now, to be fair. But I want to say maybe like 5-6 years ago. Yeah, maybe 6 years.
What prompted the change? Because if you're doing all right at kickboxing, what made you think, oh, I'm going to move to MMA?
I think I just kind of, towards the end with the kickboxing, because I was, at that point, I'd not fought professionally in kickboxing, I only fought amateur. I think the training at the gym I was at the time, I started to get a bit stale. I was like the only lad really fighting out of the gym towards the end. I had loads of good sparring partners at the start when I first started, and then slowly over the years they dropped off. Didn't really have the sparring partners, just wasn't feeling the vibe anymore. Kind of like was losing my bug for it in a way. Like I still trained super regularly, like every day pretty much, but like I definitely didn't feel as infused to turn up and like try really hard and stuff.
Yeah.
I definitely wasn't getting pushed in the sparring. So like when I thought about starting MMA, it was like something new. It was like I was a beginner again, because I had to learn the jiu-jitsu, the wrestling, even the way that you strike. Like my kickboxing didn't necessarily blend over perfectly. Like I had to tweak it and change the style to suit the way you move in MMA. And I think just like being a beginner again and like being new at something, like give me the love for it again, give me that bug again. I was like, I want to do this, you know. And then that's never stopped, because there's so much to learn. It's like never ending in the MMA. I'm not saying that it's not in kickboxing, because it is to get to an elite level, all the fine tuning, but then obviously the progression's slowing down, because you literally like, you might be improving something by like 0.5%, and it might take you like 6 months to do that. Whereas in MMA, you've got so many separate disciplines, so you've got to get good at those disciplines, but also then get good at blending them together to make it work in an MMA scenario. So there's like, the possibilities are literally endless with the sequences you can train and stuff like that.
If you could pick one to be like, because I remember reading something online a while ago with a bit of a sort of consensus when they were saying like, if you were shot jiu-jitsu, Muay Thai and Western boxing, you're pretty dangerous in the ring. Like, but obviously there's, you know, wrestling, there's taekwondo that creeps in, there's even, you know, Machida with like karate, there's loads of different disciplines that creep in. If you had to pick one and fight just in that style, what would you pick for your discipline?
Yeah, probably kickboxing. To be fair. It would still be kickboxing. Yeah.
Is that because you like it the most, or because you feel it's the most effective?
Wow, that's a good question. I think personally, because I make it work well for me, I probably feel like it's the most effective. But it's down to the individual and how good they are at like doing their thing and imposing it on the other person. Because like, I know loads of people that'll say wrestling 100%, because like, generally speaking, they dictate where the fight happens. They can take you down or stop you taking them down. unfortunately fight
I
them on the
suppose it
feet.
depends on who you fight.
But it depends on their level, yeah. If they can't get me to the ground and I prefer to be on the feet, then like tough shit. Do you know, like I'm gonna win, aren't I? Do you know what I mean? And like I just think out of all the sports, I prefer striking the best. Like it's fun. Like I think it's probably because I did it first. But I enjoy it in pads. I enjoy sparring. I enjoy doing drills with partners, even just hitting the bag, you know, stuff like that. Like I feel like it's just more enjoyable for me than the other martial arts. But I do love them all. But like that would be like if I had to pick one, that one.
Yeah.
Are you actively working on one side of your game more than others now? Then, or?
Yeah, I have been, to be fair, since I started MMA. Like the kickboxing definitely took a bit more of a back seat. Like, so I still train
You had
it.
a head start a little bit with that, didn't you?
That's it. So it's like, where's my time going to be better spent when I'm like really bad at something, but I'm like, you know, at top end at something else. I just need to do enough to keep that where it is. Whereas like my wrestling and my jiu-jitsu started off obviously at ground zero. I never done it before.
Yeah.
So I need to spend loads of time doing that to try and get it up and just really like maintain that. I don't really need that to go up or down. You know, I just need to keep that where it is. And maintaining a skill's way easier than like improving at something. You know, it'd be the same in the gym, innit? Like maintaining your muscle mass is way easier than like building it. Like you need to do way less work to keep what you've got than you do to like add anything to it.
Do you think that's kind of where for your development, like you want to be more to have your jiu-jitsu and your wrestling like on par with your kickboxing, and like because you get some people that like do just enough to be like stuff takedowns and stuff, but then focus like really heavily on the striking because they know they'll just, you know, they're really dominant at that. Do you think yours is more of an all-round game, or what's your? Yeah,
definitely. Now I feel like this last year, I've definitely hit another level with my grappling, and I'm finding more with my opponents when we get into any sort of grappling scenarios. Before I'd be looking at the first opportunity just to get to my feet and disengage, whereas now I'm like, oh right, I'm the man in this scenario now. Like I feel more confident there.
Yeah.
You definitely got that across in the fight that we came to watch. Like
I felt like it was a good show.
I feel like the majority of what I can remember from the fight was you grappling and you had the opponent up against a cage and it didn't look like he had a sniffing. For a lot of it.
It felt like that in there, to be fair, and that's like probably the first time I felt as dominant at grappling in that scenario. I was speaking to my coach after, like I was always nervous about my arms burning out because they can do, you know, you're gripping all the time. So I was doing a good job of just kind of like pinning him with my shoulder and stuff like that, so my arms were quite loose and not tiring. But I never wanted to like fully commit and try and drag him to the ground because I'm like, if I don't get the takedown and then he paws it on me and my arms are tired, what am I going to do there? So that's always like my psychology when I'm in there is like, I want to go for something. What's the risk and reward? If I go for it and I get it, sound, am I going to finish the fight from there? Oh, it's still a maybe. And then like, if I don't pull it off, how tired am I going to be?
Right.
And is he going to be able to then just come at me like guns blazing and I'm going to be in a bad situation? So that's always in the back of my mind. But I said to Cam afterwards, I was a little bit gutted that I didn't go for it in the end because I seen how tired he was at the end of the fight. And I felt fresh. I felt like I could have fought again straight away. And I said that to Cam. I was like, I just feel like I ain't even really been in one. Yeah, I felt absolutely fine. So I know that now. I know that now for the next one.
We were probably more physically tired from watching it than
the stress.
Tension were high.
I
was about 5 pints deep and I was stressed out watching it. I was thinking, please. It was almost like, because you had the Wolves Up sponsor on the back of your shorts, I was partially thinking, has he just got him against the cage just so we get more air?
Perfect for us.
It was like the best time to have sponsored me, really.
The amount of screenshots I got from. I went back, I watched it day after. It was like Italian commentary, I think. I got so many screenshots. Obviously posted a few on Instagram. Sick as well.
Yeah, of course.
The back tattoo looked fire in that.
It looks good, doesn't it?
You've got quite a few tattoos actually, haven't you?
Yeah, I have actually. Getting
any deep meaning behind your tats?
Not massively. Some of them do. Most of them don't. Like this one here is just because I like the look of it and it's in theme with the others. They're all like Native American style ones. Same, I've got like a bear on my shoulder, Native American armband there. The line on my back, actually like the quote that's above and below it is, there are no pacts between lions and men. And if you've seen Troy, that's what Achilles says in one of the scenes. And I used to watch that, if you talk about pre-fight rituals, when I was an amateur, I used to watch that every night before the fight because it used to like make me
Oh,
feel
that's
like
sick,
pumped.
right.
So I used to watch it all the time, and that quote used
never
to
seen
always
that. I
like
feel
give me
like I need to watch
goosebumps a little bit. So then I got that lion tattoo to go with that kind of thing, really. Yeah.
What's is the bear then? Is it like your spirit animal for that, or
No, it just like I got that one first, the Native American like armband, and then I just kind of like after I got that, I wanted something on my shoulder, and I was like, well, bear's head will fit pretty good there. It's in sync with like obviously Native American stuff, yeah. So that's like I say, like the same with the arrow and that one there as well. They're all like similar, but then I've got some more
Say what you got
like family now. So I've got my son's name there, Soul. That's his date of birth on that one. So I started getting a few more with a bit more meaning.
That mouth guard was sick that you had as well.
Yeah, it was class that one. Yeah, really good. Yeah, shout out XS Guards for that because he sorted me that out. Yeah,
mouth guard, that innit?
yeah, it was class. Yeah, really good.
not the boil in the bag ones will be
Yeah, definitely not. Yeah, if you want to do a bit of sparring, you go Sports Direct one.
That'll do me. Yeah, man.
As long as it protects the old Nash as well.
That's all good. Can't afford that. Not if I'm jumping in the ring with you.
Oh, yeah. That'd be it. So obviously me, like, because you've done a little bit of kickboxing. How long ago was that?
You do know he's an absolute beast when it comes to jiu-jitsu.
Are you actually?
No.
Oh,
I'm not.
you could have sold me.
10 years? Nah, I did about 3 or 4 years I did it.
That's a good amount
It's
of
a good amount of time, I'd
yeah.
say. Yeah.
But it wasn't like super regular. It were like once
belt,
or twice a week.
Yeah.
I didn't. So where I trained, we did, like I just did it 1-on-1. I didn't do it in that like a proper jiu-jitsu
Like a
gym
class,
or whatever.
yeah,
it was just 1-on-1 personal
Yeah, yeah.
training that I did. And he was I think he was purple belt.
Yeah.
And then so I did it. But he said like, because I always used to ask him, because when I first walked in, I think I've said this before. It's one of the things I was going to ask you sort of a bit later on. But like everyone watches UFC, I think, or some people watch UFC and think, oh, I'll probably do all right in that. And it's such a stupid thing.
Mate, yeah.
Thing.
Obviously, mate. It's unbelievable.
It's
unbelievable.
One of my mates, I mean, Sully's quite hard. Like, I hope he's not watching that and sees that, but he's there. I'd bang them too. I used to do.
I bet that's why there's so many scraps
But
after fights, fighting events.
Oh yeah, almost certainly. But I
Yeah,
think
loads
what's,
of
day
don't
at
they,
boxing.
what's funny about it is like they're obviously wrong, but they don't realise how wrong.
Yeah.
Like even so,
So
even
they
from that,
believed
like I said before, you know, he were. I'm sure he were in his late 40s, maybe early 50s. He were probably 5'5". How tall are you? Yeah, 5'5". and you know, I mean, maybe 10 stone, like absolute max. And we went through this thing. He's like, we did a little bit of kickboxing, we did a little bit of normal boxing. And he's like, let's do a little bit of jiu-jitsu. It was just to kind of, I'd never done any like
Fill you out a little bit.
Yeah, basically, well, just to see what I wanted to do, because I just wanted to
okay.
do something that were different from the gym.
Yeah.
Didn't do any, you know, running's dull as shit. So I wanted to do something that were kind of cardio based, that were, you know, I've always had an interest in that kind of thing. So we did some jiu-jitsu, and I think it was like, okay, and it was just very, you know, really basic stuff. It's like, you know, this is guard, this is mount, going through all the positions, and it was like, right, do you want a little bit of a spar? So I was like, yeah, go on then. And I think he sensed, because I'm thinking, right, I should be, I'm about 20 odd years younger, I'm taller, I'm bigger, I'm stronger, I'm faster, I should have this in the bag. And I was sort of thinking, well, there's obviously something to it, and I think he sort of, when I started doing it, and I'm getting my ass kicked, I'm thinking, right, I'm going to have to try now. And I think he started like laughing, because obviously he knew before exactly what was going to happen, and he just kept tapping me out. But what he was doing is he was showing me. So like we'd do it, and then it was like, out to a triangle, right, okay, do it again, right, do it again, out to an armbar, right, do it again, out to a Kimura, and he was just showing me like all the different things, and I just couldn't do anything at all. And it were when he were like on mount, and I was trying to get him off, or even side control, it were like he was this 20 stone guy, and it were ridiculous. And even when I'm trying to frame to get him off, I just couldn't, and I was like, it like blew my mind.
Yeah.
And I couldn't, and obviously, you know, no disrespect to him at all, because it was really good. But it was like, you know, I think he might have just been shy of a purple belt. It might have been blue 4-stripe or something, but it was like, almost there. That's nothing in the big world, is it? You know, in terms of a rank.
This is why I'd never get in a fight, man.
But
like,
Well, they always say
the real world,
check
do
the
you know what I mean?
ears. Don't they?
Yeah,
if you're gonna
yeah.
scrap someone, have
Yeah,
a quick
they
look
do
at their
say
ears
that.
first.
That's what I thought about you when I first
But it was
nicest guy ever, but that is.
that experience.
Questionable here. That.
That experience was so humbling to me because don't get me wrong, I didn't for one second think I was anywhere near the hardest guy or could even fight or anything. But I just thought, from a pure stats point of view, I thought I should have an all right chance here, and I were way off. I had no chance at all. And that were kind of, you know, you get these lads that then go up against someone like they'll see you or something and go, yeah, he's a fighter. I could fucking bang him. And then you're just like, you're an absolute moron. You've got no chance at all. But do you ever get that like shit in pubs or when you're out or?
Sometimes in pubs, less so now because I don't generally go out.
Yeah.
But more so in the gym, mate. Especially like people coming for the first personal training or some of the messages we get. I'll get one up in a minute if you can blur out the guy's name just so I don't want to humiliate anybody too much, but it's hilarious. So I had someone messaging me saying they wanted to do bare knuckle boxing, but they spelt bear like an actual grizzly bear.
like the tattoo.
And so do you do any training for that? And I was like, no mate, we don't. We do MMA, wrestling, jiu-jitsu, kickboxing. And he was like, MMA, bare knuckle, basically the same thing, innit? And I was like, yeah, okay. I was like, come down and try a session, mate. And he hadn't turned up, but yeah, you get some divs and like, I think generally speaking, just being a bloke in general, like you generally like to believe that you can handle yourself. I feel like that's like any man, to be fair, for the most part. Some more than others.
We had this conversation in the car yesterday.
It's just like I feel like everybody just kind of feels highly of themselves, but like unjustly, like they've done that very little to prove that.
Yeah.
To be fair with you, like you could walk into somewhere. If you walked into a bar, you could probably knock out 99% of the in there. I'd think anyway.
Yeah, like.
And I was saying, I think that, and I ain't ever had a fight.
Yeah, that's what I mean, mate. A few beers deep, especially. But you get guys come for the first 1-to-1 and been like usually like they've gone gym, you know, got a bit of muscle, maybe got a little bit of a rep growing up or whatever, can handle themselves in a bit of a street fight in their head at least or whatever. There've been a few scuffles uptown. Consider themselves hard, and then like get them on the pads to throw a punch, mate. And honestly, sometimes I couldn't punch the weight out of a wet paper bag. Like honestly, like it's like a fanny punching you. Honestly, it's so bad. No, it's like I think they underestimate how much technique like plays a big part in it, and it's not necessarily how big and strong you are or how tough you are. There's way more to it than that. And I just think, like you said there, like the experience of it's humbling. And I've definitely had guys come through the gym in my own experience that have come for a spar. And then like some of the like older juniors just kick the shit out of him, and then they've been that embarrassed about it and have that much ego, like they just don't come back. And I know for a fact they'll be saying to mates, "Oh shit, that kickboxing, like it's not really worth it." Do you know what I mean?
Do you
It's
do
not
that
realistic.
stuff on purpose? Like, because I would if I owned the gym.
Oh yeah,
I'd
absolutely.
get like a 9-year-old kid and be like, yeah, you can scrap with little Jimmy, and then watch him like tap him out, and then I would just piss myself.
Mate, absolutely. And I've got like a good array of lads in the gym now where definitely got guys who can kind of manage the mat for me, so I don't always have to get involved in the sparring as much anymore with like the students. But like if someone's coming in and they've got a bit of bravado or whatever and they're a little bit of an ass, like I've got certain people where I can give them the nod and then they can go a little bit harder with the newbies, you know, and stuff like that. But
humble them, like,
but only if they're that way out, and I feel like it's just to do so. Do you know what I mean? Like, mate, like the majority of people that come through the doors are lovely and they end up staying full time. Like I've got pretty good retention of members of the same kind of core group for a lot of years now at the gym. I think most people that decide to turn up to have a go at it are generally pretty open to the idea that like they're not going to be the best in the world and they can. But like I say, you do definitely get them people that believe they're going to be amazing. I've definitely had them in the 1-to-1s in the past, and I'm like, how can I get rid of this guy? Like, I don't want him as a client anymore. Yeah,
Right.
I feel like they should do something like this in maybe like at an early age, like in schools. I don't mean obviously you'd have to be so careful with how you did it, but I think the sooner you get humbled, I think in anything actually, like the sooner you fail.
They're not
Are you
even
talking
doing
about being up kids?
Yeah, that's what isn't that what your restraining orders for?
Matt's picturing all these kids in his class
Yeah,
at school.
It's funny though. There were a year 11 lad, or when I first started teaching him actually, he were getting into boxing, and he knew I did like a little bit of jiu-jitsu. So we used to talk, and you know, it were a bit of a troubled lad, and you know, and I were trying to sort of say, you know, like you learn these, make sure when you're boxing, stays at boxing. Like, you're not bringing it here and starting leathering the kids and stuff like that. We used to have a good relationship and stuff. And then, but then when he started getting, it was like, oh, can we have a sparring session? So I was like, well, it's not really appropriate, is it? Like, you know, and one, obviously, it's jiu-jitsu versus boxing, so it's a bit different. And then obviously at the time, I'm thinking, well, and it'd just be stupid because I just, you know, paced you. Yeah, exactly. But then it was quite funny because it's like at the beginning of year 10, he was training his boxing. And it started getting bigger. And then he walked in and he was like stood right next to me. He's like, same height as you now, sir. That fight might not be as one-sided anymore. But yeah, no, it were. But I do think it'd be good because you do get, and he were a lovely lad and never caused like any problems or anything like that. And I think he still boxes and I think he's doing all right. But I think it'd be a good lesson because it'd probably sort out a lot of the things people carry when they're older. Like,
it's weird, wouldn't it? Because martial arts in general is, you know, it teaches that discipline and respect and being humble and all that kind of stuff. And in, like, to kind of echo what you're saying there, yeah, it would probably be good to have it kind of for kids at a younger age, not to necessarily make it like, what's the word I'm looking for, like obligatory, you know, like in a curriculum or something. But it would probably be good. It's just so like,
it'd be good to have it like more, because martial arts I think should be maybe more integrated with schools. I think, like, so I'm not saying you have to go in and get your ass kicked day one, but it'd be good if the option were there. Encouraged and shown and demonstrated the fact that it's like, you know, all the benefits it brings. You know, the discipline,
I can only think
the fitness.
Like maybe 3 or 4 kids who were in my school year at school that actually did it. Actually knew about.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, it's when I mean, I'm a little bit older than like you two, but like, so it's like, you know, we're always just karate. That was the thing, we're like karate or nothing. And, you know, you'll probably agree, I hope, but karate is shit. Like, compared to anything else, it's nowhere near as good. Like, if I think a solid blue belt jiu-jitsu would beat most black belt karate, like, any day of the week.
Have you ever seen that video? I want to say it's like Royce Gracie maybe, or Hoyce Gracie. And I think he goes up against a karate guy in a dojo, like they have like a dojo war, and he absolutely hammers him.
It's I've seen quite a few Gracie videos.
The shit out of him like super, like quick as well. Like, I think that karate guy tries to land like one technique, he just takes him down. Like, and he just absolutely mauls him. I just think like,
it's just stupid though, isn't it? The difference.
How many lads though do you like when you're joking around and like, I've got a black belt in karate, me mate?
Yeah. It's always the thing. Definitely, it's like it's not worth anything these days at all.
No, well there were I think it were. Do you know Jocko Willink?
Yeah.
Because he's obviously big on his jiu-jitsu, and
he's
an absolute animal. It just seems I would not want to cross him.
He's got a cauliflower face, that man, hasn't he?
But he seems
it looks like the thing.
The world's hardest paper round.
But he seems. I mean, obviously, he seems like a sound guy, but he also seems like terrifying. Which I suppose, given his background, is going to be. But he was saying when he first started early on, there were some guys in the Marines that were in that were like doing karate, and he said one of them like was sparring with him, and he like were quite early on in his jiu-jitsu career, and he said he just paced him every time, and it wasn't even close. Apparently, this guy was getting really like upset and angry that he'd wasted like 15 years of his life on the discipline that did like jack shit. Basically.
Mate, going slightly off topic there, like with that, get so many people like that'll go to like a martial arts club that are teaching them like absolute garbage, like terrible, and they'll label it as self-defense or kickboxing or karate or whatever they want to label it as, but it's terrible. And the guy taking the class usually has never had a fight in his life, and they'll be teaching him the most ridiculous stuff that just has no worth.
Bullshido,
just no work at all. Yeah, exactly. And they'll do it, and there comes a point where it's like you say, like they might have been doing it 10 years, and then they'll try use it or like go to another gym to spar or whatever and get their ass handed to them. And then they have this little moment where it's like, you either accept the fact that you've wasted 10 years of your life and you change and you join a new gym that teaches you it proper and start fresh, or they go deeper down the rabbit hole and they go back to the other gym and go like, no, it didn't work because of X, Y, and Z, you know, like, no, it's just like we did it to their rule set, so like it didn't suit my style or whatever. And they go deeper down the rabbit hole, and then they'll only spar with guys in their gym, only train with guys in their gym. And you see it, mate, these big franchises, they'll be like a gym, like there's in Wakefield, there's like not to slag them off too much, but there's Chuldo and X Martial Arts and their chains.
Chuldo's where I used to go.
No way. But they'll generally do like cross gym competitions.
That's what I
No way.
Amazing.
That's funny.
Oh, it was bad that.
Oh dear.
Tell you about that after.
What are the chances?
No, mate,
That's well funny.
No, so I got-
Mate,
I-
I'm sorry you've wasted like
Mate, I got
all your
right-
money and all your time.
I got proper invested in UFC and like.
You went to the wrong place.
I were a big, I were a proper Adesanya fanboy. Like you know when he was like on his come up, and I was like, oh, I fancy myself at this. Like I'd just gone through this period of like self development, stop smoking weed, that kind of thing, and I was like, lost like 10 kilos. I was just fat, fucking lazy, and I'd just game all day. So saw my Xbox. I'm like, right, got to change my life. Let me join a martial arts gym. So. Started going there, literally my first session, did a few drills, whatever, enjoyed it, and they were like, oh, we've got an inter-club competition coming up. I was like, yeah, sign me up. Literally first session in, and it was like 3 or 4 weeks away, so I had another 4 sessions before I came to this inter-club thing. And I fought against this guy. It was a 2-minute round, just 1 2-minute round, and you had to do 2 of them. If you won one of the fights, you went in to compete against like somebody from the other club. So in my first fight, I fought against this guy, and he'd been going to the club for about 4 or 5 years, and he was a few years older than me. He was shorter, but he was quite stocky, and I beat him quite comfortably. But he just fought the guy who I was going to fight after him. Right. So he fights this guy. This guy basically batters him, then I fight.
He's having a rough day. He's like, this inter-club.
He's 0-2. He's 0-2 in 4 minutes. It's a bad day for him. So
Mate, he quit that day, definitely, did he?
Mate.
I bet he never saw him again.
I think he was called Adam, if I remember correctly.
Adam.
I won just about. I got a few like nice little combinations. I thought I was good. I was moving like a bit silky and that. And then
like Neo.
Literally, no, mate. If I showed you the video, you'd be horrified. I was switching stances every 2 seconds, like, and then I had about a minute rest in between that fight and the next fight against the guy who that Adam had lost to. And I was gassed. After 2 minutes, I'd blown my tank, and this guy had a full, rest, and he'd beaten the guy I'd just beaten. He was about 10, 15 years older than me, and he'd clearly been doing it a very long time. And then I got in the ring with this guy, and he just battered me. Battered me. I was like just cowering away like this, turned my head. I leant down to try and avoid one of his punches, and he just kicks me straight in the face, mate. Like, busted my nose, everything. Obviously, I lost that fight, but because I won the first one, they put me into this like inter-club competition in like another month's time. But by that point, it was in that 4-week period. Then COVID happened and lockdown happened and everything, so they cancelled it. And I was like, yeah, I didn't like it. I didn't like kickboxing anyway.
Didn't like that anyway.
Looking for an
Trash.
excuse to sack it off. So that's my martial arts story. Chilled out, yeah.
I'm
So
looking
you
forward.
sorry I interjected big time.
It's all
mate.
good. I'm looking forward
You
to
were slagging off
spar in
some
the gym
local
now.
gyms.
Yeah. So yeah, they do. I forgot what I was saying about them now. To be fair.
Sorry. No, you were saying
They just end up sticking with it, and they'll only train with people who are doing the same thing. They won't cross gym and try train elsewhere every now and again or anything like that. And just get the wool pulled over their eyes. Do you know what I mean? And like just accept it's like a cult, mate. Really.
Right.
Well, that's what I'm going to say.
It's like proper culty behaviour. You get it
Right.
loads in martial arts. Yeah, it's mad.
But you see videos of they're like some 90-year-old guy that's like a, 47th degree black belt or whatever doing it, and someone will grab him and he'll just go, and this guy goes flying.
Mate.
And it's just like, whoa.
Unbelievable
Obviously, it's
videos
just-
of that.
Yeah, but I like have you seen the one with the 2 lads who do a bit of MMA who like take the piss out of him? So they're basically like they show the videos of like someone. Like there were one where he kind
I've seen
of
that.
grabs
I've
his
seen
his front, and this old guy turns over, and this guy goes absolutely flying over his thing, and but then they do what would actually happen.
Yeah.
So like grabs his collar, and this guy turns around, and then he just puts him in a rear naked immediately. Like it just
That's
like
class,
nothing
that.
happened.
I like that. You'll have to show me them.
I'll see if I can
them.
find him. I haven't seen him for a while, but I'll have.
self-defense ones.
They sell.
Yeah,
funny.
yeah.
Self-defense, and
It's-
they're just
But they're basically they were
Sorry,
just so
practical.
good because they just show what would happen
Yeah.
if you actually did
The
it,
ridiculousness
and it's
of
just
it.
like
Yeah.
it never ends well, obviously.
mad-
but it's
it's a
like
mad-
Steven Seagal and all that lot, innit? He's into his like, is it Wing Chun or something? Like
Yeah, I
don't
can't
know.
remember what it is that he
It's
does,
one of
but
the
yeah,
bollocks ones,
it,
innit,
is
but-
it is his paw. Yeah, definitely. Have you seen all the videos of him where he, like it's like
the proper
old
cult
UFC?
hero, and he's Steven Seagal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We went to like I think it's one of Daniel Cormier's training camps, and he's going like Daniel.
Actually.
He goes like Daniel, you have to turn off the cameras. I'm going to show you some super secret shit. And, like they're going along with it, but at the same time, I think they're all taking the piss out of him.
Must be.
Yeah,
If it's good,
Yeah.
he'll already know. Don't
Yeah.
worry, Stephen. It's
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah, Olympic wrestler. Don't worry about it, mate. He's going to be sound.
Did you have like a particular like icon in MMA that you looked up to when you were?
Other
Training.
than Lindley, when you'd seen him.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we've seen that sparring
beside-
video.
That's why he left kickboxing. He saw you.
That's it.
Yeah.
He was like, no,
I
I
don't
got to
want
get
that
out of
smoke.
this
Don't-
before
don't
he
wanna
gets.
fight that.
Not with them silky moves. Yeah, to be fair, I did, like I said before, when I started getting into it, I started watching the old K1. I watched a lot of, there were two guys, there was Andy Hug and there was a guy called Mirko Krokop who did actually end up going into MMA and doing the UFC. Those two guys in the K1 stuff, like I kept like obsessing over their fights all the time and watching them loads because I really like their style in comparison to some of the other guys I'd seen. They threw more, to be fair, they threw more of some of the karate techniques, like the head kicks and stuff like that, they were really good at. And then that became a big part of my style, really. Like a lot of my fights have been run with head kicks and stuff like that. So I would say those two guys. And if you haven't watched them fight before, I would go watch some of their fights. It was
Have a gander.
sick. Yeah.
What about like sort of now? Do you have? Is it still the same? Does anyone you look up to in like the sort of? I
Yeah.
guess
Probably the same, yeah. Like in terms of that, everybody else now, you kind of feel like, I feel like it's all achievable. I could kind of end up fighting amongst those guys, rubbing shoulders with them. So I kind of don't really have that same.
In your weight category.
Yeah, my weight category or others. To be fair, you're going to end up like rubbing shoulders with them,
Yeah,
aren't you?
you're
So
not
it's
looking
less.
at them as much as I.
Yeah,
I
I'm
know
trying
it's
not to
more
put
like
them on that
competition in
pedestal
that
as much because,
yeah,
like,
yeah,
I don't
yeah.
want it to be like a big thing of me getting to that
it
level
ever
and
got
being like,
there.
oh my god, like
See people
starstruck.
get
Do
swallowed
you know
by
what I
the
mean?
occasion, don't you?
Exactly,
That-
yeah. Whereas you want it to be
True.
like, oh yeah, it's normal. Do you know, like we've got like Leon's brother Fabian. He comes and trains with us at Manchester, where I go training there from time to time, and I normally end up getting partnered with him. Do you know, that's like pretty cool and stuff like that. But it's just like more of a regular occurrence than like people realise. I think that you train with like guys who are in the UFC or other big organisations. You do see them guys
Quite a
often.
close knit community. Isn't it?
Yeah, it isn't like as a training partner, like you do have mixed skills. So like you will like walk into a local gym and there'll be guys there who've like done quite well in the sport, do you know, and you might not even realise it till you chat to them and then you're like, fucking hell, he's done all that.
Yeah.
And then they're just sound and they'll train with you, no problem. You know.
Have you ever had any kind of? I mean, you don't have to answer this if you don't want, but like when you've been out and about, have you ever had any like altercations from like either, you know, people just been arseholes to you and you've just had to like put them in the place, or even from a more like not just them being an arsehole, but where they've actually like, even if they don't know who you are, but just like challenged you or whatever, and you've had to like give them a bit of a slap.
Yeah, me and Dambo have definitely had some in his time together because we were quite close growing up for a while. So yeah, we've been in a few. But to
I
be
want to
fair,
be on the other end of that. To be
Oh,
fair,
Definitely.
No, unless I got
yeah,
you
we've been
with
in
me, I
some
wouldn't
sticky
want it.
situations from time to time, definitely. But like recently, mate, over recent years, since I've been properly like dedicated to the sport and like took it super serious, because back then, mate, I'd go out on the piss and all sorts. You know what I mean? Like I was not like, I was dedicated to the training, but not the lifestyle. Whereas like for a good like, I want to say like 8 years, like I barely drink. I do a little bit occasionally. Like I'm dead boring now. Stay home most of the time. So like I'm never really in them situations anyway. But when I do go out, like never really seems to happen for me. Like I don't go looking for trouble, and generally it don't find me these days at all either. So I'm like pretty comfy.
you say boring, but you're fighting for a living, mate. It's not.
Well, yeah, yeah.
what I mean? It's
It depends what you like to do, doesn't
Yeah.
it?
It must be pretty like, I don't know.
Conventionally speaking, boring. Not going out drinking is boring. But
I know we were on about this in another podcast. It's weird that that's the thing. If you don't
just
drink,
the
you're
social
boring.
norm, innit?
It is, yeah. It's just
Yeah.
the label it normally gets in it that you don't do much.
But
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. But I think just having that kind of comfort where you're thinking, like, if there ever were a problem, I'd be all right. Like just in a pub, it must be pretty nice to have that.
That might be like why you don't get as much trouble either.
Yeah.
You know, and the cauliflower ear probably helps as well. So
Yeah.
How come it's just your right hand side? Or your left hand side, sorry.
So I got this off Paul Daly, to be fair.
Right.
If you know Paul from his fights at all.
Is that just one?
So that were it
one
was
fight?
sore for a while and started, and then training with Paul for one of his fights.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he actually punched me in it. And it went.
Punch.
Yeah, so just obviously like years of wrestling,
Yeah.
shooting in, and then basically like it makes the skin pull away from the cartilage is what starts it.
Right.
So usually they start off quite small, and then I'm pretty sure he whacked it, and that's when I knew it had got big, because like while we were training around, it hurt like mad, but it felt like it was throbbing, and it felt like I had water inside my ear. Like I could feel the water like jiggling around.
Right.
Yeah.
I was like, something's not right. So as soon as the round ended, I was just like, I'm going to run to the toilet and see what's going on here. So I ran in and I looked at my ear in the mirror, mate, and it was like out here, purple, and I was just like, oh my God, it's massive.
That's that.
Then
yeah.
got
Is it
Al
like
Ass to drain
calcify
it.
or something? Is that
Yeah,
what
it's
it is?
just it's rock hard now. Yeah, it's
Oh,
just
is it?
solid. Yeah,
Because you can have them drained and stuff, can't you? I think, and like liquefy it and then
Yeah,
back out. But
I drained it loads. Like tried to keep it as normal as I could, but because of the amount we
but
train,
that
like
keep it.
you'd have to take time off training. Really, you could like I'd drain it and it'd almost look normal, like it just look a bit thicker, like a thicker ear, maybe a few little lumps in it. But then we'd train the next day, I'd knock it and it just swell straight back up. So in the end, I was just like, because Al Ass was draining it for me like nearly every night, and like getting like multiple syringes of blood out of there.
Jeez.
So then I was just like, in the end, and that was painful, you know, just having that done. I was just in the end, I was just like, look, it just hurts all the time. It hurts in the morning. It hurts when you drain it. Just leave it, let it do its thing. And then like after a few weeks, it just hardened, and it is what it is now. Yeah.
I think it looks cool, mate.
yeah, it's a bit of a badge of honour.
Do you want me to give you one? No.
I'm alright. To be fair, I won't mind, would we?
Do a Steve.
I train with James Power.
Steve-O got John Jones to give him one, didn't he, or something like that?
What did he do to
Deliberately,
give him it?
I think he just like put like a board behind his ear and then got
Oh,
John
that's
Jones to
splattered
just
Yeah, that will do it.
punch
Yeah,
it.
something like that'll do it. Yeah.
That's
I
mad,
know.
is that?
Yeah.
Well, that's Steve-O. I mean,
Yeah, that is
Oh,
retarded.
Steve.
Yeah, but
Steve-O,
that's-
yeah.
uh,
Oh, do you think I'm talking about a mate of mine like Steve-O?
My name's Steve.
Who
Ah,
just hangs
Steve-
around with John
Steve.
Jones
Yeah,
casually. It's like, oh yeah, him and Johnny Bones go way back.
I thought you meant Steve who comes in the shop.
But of all the people to ask, don't ask him. Like,
know, yeah.
just pick
Yeah,
someone
he's
that.
gonna fuck you up, innit?
Yeah, I don't know.
Do you think he's done now?
I reckon
something to his knee, hasn't
I
he?
think he'd only come back for that Stipe fight, and then I think he
Yeah.
would retire. I don't think he'd fight Aspinall.
There's no way will I mean, my opinion, but I think Aspinall would absolutely smoke him. I think he would. It's
Think-
just, yeah.
It'd be interesting. I'd really like to see that fight, but I don't think it'll happen. I think Jones is like he'll probably do one more at most. Like if he gets to fight Stipe, because they're both like obviously at the back end of their careers.
Yeah.
And like,
just wants
what's
to
he got
hold
left
that.
to do? Why would he want to fight somebody as young and hungry and as good as Aspinall? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I agree. The only thing I just don't like about it is I kind of feel sorry for Aspinall because he's just like, you know, he's the interim, innit?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
He's just like, I just want my chance.
yeah, it's ridiculous
Like,
as well.
and he's getting a lot of heat for it, innit? Because he's,
Yeah. I think they should like. Obviously, if things were done properly, he's the interim champ. The champ should return and fight him.
or,
Like, that's
or
how it,
vacate the belt.
yeah, and then
Yeah.
he's the
Yeah,
proper
yeah.
champ. You know what I mean? That's how it's supposed to work. But I think Dana White said, then he said like, "Oh, we're gonna let Jones do the Stipe fight first.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why? Like that's not how it's
Yeah,
supposed to
yeah.
work. What's the
It's like
point
you
in
make-
Tom having an interim belt?
Making exceptions.
There's
at that
literally
point,
no
that's
reason
like-
Yeah,
because
that's
he's
the
going to be left
problem, innit?
inactive as well while he's waiting.
It's all
Like
money though, innit?
surely he's going to want to fight again. And you're like, what they're going to fight? He's won the interim title, so really the next fight should be him fighting the champ.
Yeah.
They're going to make him fight and defend his interim title. Like there's just like no
It's-
worth in it, in my
yeah.
opinion. It makes the interim title just seems pointless. Like just make him number one contender, and then just be like, if you fight somebody else, it's for the number one contender spot. You know, like
It's just money though, innit? That's
Yeah,
it's
it
just
is, yeah,
business.
yeah.
That's all it is. But I mean, don't get me wrong, I still think Jones would have probably beaten Ngannou. But I found it weird that like he returned after Ngannou left. I don't know, the
Yeah.
timing was just a little bit weird.
Yeah, it
for
was
me.
strange, wasn't it? I agree with you though. I think Jones is big enough to deal with the size, to a degree, but also like the skill level's just like out of this world.
Particularly with, like, the ground
to
game.
Yeah, he's got such an advantage in skill. I feel like he would just definitely be able to control, like you say, on the ground more so than anywhere.
But I remember because I remember what it Ngannou and Stipe that fought. Oh no! It wasn't Miocic. No, it wasn't Stipe with the one. Who was it that he fought when they got like it were boring as fuck?
Yeah, I think it was Cyril Gane, wasn't it? Did he wrestle Cyril Gane?
I don't think no Ngannou. They were in a match with Ngannou and someone else, and they were almost like I'd have stopped it for like but they're just not fighting each other.
Oh
enough.
yeah.
But it were really boring.
Okay, right.
But like
the second
painfully slow.
Did he fight Stipe twice?
He did fight Stipe twice.
Ngannou lost
one of them.
He won the I think he knocked Stipe out the second time.
Yeah, he did.
No, it will. I'll find who it is and I'll send you it later. But it were almost stopped for like not fighting enough. I can't remember what's the word for that. I can't remember.
Stalling, inactivity.
Yeah. But it were almost stopped for that, and it won. And I think it should have been because nothing happened. It were just like two guys going, "Go on then," like for 3 rounds or whatever. It were ridiculous.
Did he have a fight with Derek Lewis a bit like that? I can't remember.
Didn't Derek Lewis knock him out?
I feel like he did.
I swear he was leaning back and he caught him on chin.
Mate, what an athlete he is. He's such an odd guy, isn't he?
Me and Matty won Christmas. It was about 2 years ago. None of us have ever watched UFC in his lives. Amy were away at her granddad's, so I invited Matty round, and we were betting against each other on the UFC. Like we'd put a random UFC fight on, no matter how long ago it was, even when it was just starting. And we'd be like, right, so one fight I'd get first pick. And then second fight, Matty would get the first pick. So you'd get to pause it when it came on, and you just look at the fighters. Yeah. And just from looking at them for 1 second, you get to pick who's going to win, and you have like 20 quid on it. And we were doing it for about 4 hours, just watching fight after fight. And it got to the point where when one of us saw Ngannou, we were like, yes, it's 5 picks, it's guaranteed. It's fucking Ngannou time. And I swear there was one fight where one of us picked Ngannou.
Proper picture that.
Yeah. And he got absolutely banged out.
I think it might have been Derek Lewis.
He did get knocked out at one point, didn't he?
Yeah. He's lost a few.
Yeah.
I didn't think he'd ever been knocked out in UFC, Ngannou. I know he'd lost, but I didn't know he'd been knocked out.
Let's have a look. We'll get his topology.
The early days of UFC were just ridiculous. You had like big sumo guys walking in, and we'd be like, he's definitely gonna win.
That's
where you get a jiu-jitsu guy.
Well, that's where the Gracie jiu-jitsu kind of started, like really made a name for itself, innit? That they were like able to
coming up against crazy like
but it was relatively like unheard of, wasn't it, at that point? And that's why they were so dominant for a while. And
and they were all just juiced off the minds, weren't they?
Decision lost to Derek Lewis. Sorry, boys.
Decision
lost to Derek Lewis, and decision lost to Stipe.
Yeah,
there is.
So he hadn't been knocked out.
Just boxing, obviously.
That must have been decision then. Did
he
knock out Derek Lewis then in the second fight?
Yeah.
Did he? It was that way around then.
I always like watching Mark Hunt, mate. He was just a proper big bastard.
Yeah, mate, he's hard as nails, isn't he?
He
used to do the K1 thing that I want about. I watched did that, before he did MMA,
Yeah. He used to always make me laugh him because to look at him, he just looked like a big fat guy. He would just built like a giant fridge, wasn't he? And then he'd just go and smack people.
Nails,
he was just proper solid, that guy.
James, I'm curious to know what your thoughts are on the Jake Paul, Mike Tyson.
Oh mate, I don't think it'll happen, man.
Do you know?
I don't think it'll happen.
I think it's gonna get called for.
Yeah, or like it just won't be an actual fight. Like,
that's
it'll be some sort of gimmick. Do you know what I mean? It'll be something else.
What, they'll both just be pansying about? Or?
Yeah, it'll be like a spar, really, or do you know what I mean? Like,
it's not going to be.
I just feel like they won't do it. I just feel like as much as
there's too much money.
I imagine there's loads of money there, but like for Tyson, obviously, it's a risk of losing like a lot of clout on his name and legacy.
I don't even know me.
It's
like if he lost, his.
It's going down. Is it going down as a professional fight or something?
I don't
supposedly.
know. I haven't looked too much.
I don't know. It annoys me all this celebrity stuff.
Shit,
yeah. It's
I'm
so
well against
annoying.
it. Yeah. That proper hater with that, honestly. Yeah, I don't like it at all.
Do you think UFC, MMA will get to that point? Because it's growing fast, isn't it?
It is growing fast. I just feel like the issue is, like, with the boxing, you see a lot of the time, they don't get, like, seriously hurt too much. Like, you've got the little 4-ounce gloves and you can grapple, like, elbow each other's face. Like, the risks are way bigger for, like, a YouTuber just to think, like, I'll have a go. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's, like, a bit more daunting. Do you know, like, oh, yeah, you can punch me. Like, obviously, like we said before, everyone feels like they can fight to some degree. And you've got, like, a nice hand-wrap 10-ounce glove on. It's like, okay, I can live with that. You know, whereas, like, in the MMA, you've got a 4-ounce glove on. and like I say, you can elbow knee each other in the face. It's like
yeah.
a bit of a different kettle of fish in terms of like
Completely.
how bad it could be for
Yeah.
them. Do you know?
Thing is though with Jake Paul is, I mean, it could just be an incredible businessman. Well, he is obviously to some degree to build what he's got, but
Absolutely.
I think he
Yeah,
just
100%.
he does it to be deliberately provocative and does all this shit because he knows it pisses people off. It gets people talking about it.
That's it, mate. It's
And-
one of them
and-
thing like no such thing as bad publicity in it. Really. It's
Yeah,
not-
yeah.
not-
It's like
Oh,
Andrew
just
Tate, and he's probably
Yeah.
the biggest name in the world right now.
Yeah.
Did you follow him when he was kickboxing?
No, I didn't. No, I
No.
didn't. I didn't. I didn't even know he had kickboxed, and then I watched I watched a few of his fights. I don't think he was very like good, to be honest.
He wasn't even that good.
I don't think so, in my opinion.
No, he hasn't made
Yeah.
his money from kickboxing,
Yeah.
though, has he?
No, definitely
No,
not.
but people just assume that he's mint because he says
Yeah.
he's mint, don't they?
He looks,
Yeah.
he looks the part as well.
Probably the advocate, biggest advocate for no publicity is bad publicity. That guy.
Yeah,
Really,
yeah,
when he-
absolutely.
But he is, you know, like I've said this to you before, like whether you agree with him or disagree with him, he's a very smart man. Like he knows what he's doing. And
Yeah,
there's
yeah.
a reason I don't think you can get that successful by accident.
No.
No.
So he knows what he's doing, and he knows that, like, you know, what he's saying will
Yeah, it's knowing how people
cause
take it.
arguments, and because people, like I said to you before, he's a genius because people make videos about him going Andrew Tate, da, 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 and then they'll make a reaction video to that, and it's all these videos with Andrew Tate, Andrew Tate, Andrew Tate, and he used to be sat there pissing himself,
Yeah,
going,
yeah.
"I'm getting all this money,
Yeah,
like, and you're doing my work for me. I don't
You
even
need
have
to
to do
start
anything."
doing that.
It's like when
Yeah.
people. It's like when he releases a supplement product and then people review it and say it's
Yeah,
awful.
yeah.
we got 4K views on that.
Yeah, man. It's wild, really, isn't it?
yeah,
What,
it's-
do you have any questions?
We've got a couple. I should have put it on more in advance, but we have got a couple.
You listed.
What's this? Tom Lindley. What are you sending me?
Could be out. I don't know. I've sent you my kickboxing record.
When's your next fight, by the way, James?
25th of May in Newcastle.
Yeah.
You told me that in the car.
I'm just asking for the podcast.
Giving me the plug.
Even I got that.
The way,
man. Come
the
on.
way you asked it, then we're like, I don't know.
To be fair, I keep getting Callum's fights
And that
mixed
mixed
up.
up,
I'm like,
yeah,
my
yeah.
diary's all over the place. Do you know the opponent yet?
No, so they did send me a guy actually. Sent me through a Brazilian lad. I said yeah to that.
Sweet.
Just waiting to hear from the other side if it's all confirmed. So hopefully it will.
Also, they don't kind of tell you who you're fighting. You
yeah,
still
well-
get a chance to say.
Yeah, I suppose you do. I haven't ever said no to anybody, so they send me something through. I just say yes straight away because, like, what's the point? You know, if ultimately you want to fight in the UFC, you're not going to be able to cherry pick your way there. Do you know what I mean? And when you get there, you're definitely not going to be able to ask
Yeah.
for so and
But
so.
some
Like, you're
people
going to
try
get
to
given who
do
you're
that.
given.
I know.
Oh yeah, definitely, mate. I know for facts like people are dodging people.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway, they sent me a name through. I've said yeah, so I'll just wait to make sure they
Right.
confirm on their side. I just feel like if you do start to say no to it, like you probably put yourself in bad stead with the promotion, and they probably don't like you too much, you know. So the chances of them giving you opportunities are probably slim.
Yeah.
I try and be a good employee and cause the least stress as possible. So if they send me a name, I'm just like, yes, sound, I'll do it, no problem. You
How
know, and
much
just
notice
crack
do you
on.
get?
It varies. So like for the Belfast one, I think I had 6 weeks.
So that's when you got 6 weeks to start cutting weight now.
Yeah, and that was my debut for them in Belfast. That one, and then some of the others I've had longer. I've known I'm fighting on such and such date. Not necessarily known the opponent straight away. It's like this one now in Newcastle. Like I've known I'll definitely be on that card for like a couple of weeks, just waiting
Just
to
don't
get
know who you're
the
fighting.
opponent confirmed.
Right.
Yeah.
Does he look any good? Oh, you don't.
I've not really watched him, to be honest.
no.
I won't until he definitely says yeah, to be honest. And
Don't
if he
want to waste
does,
your energy.
Worth
And
the
yeah,
time, is
I'll
it,
watch a couple of fights usually and then leave the rest to Cam, my coach.
he
Um,
analyses the
yeah,
opponent.
and then he'll
Yeah.
give me like
Sweet.
a little bit of a game plan and that.
If he says no, then do you get? Well, they'll just put someone else in, and
Yeah, they'll just go ask other people.
Keep
I
going.
mean, I don't know. I've never worked
yourself
behind the
ready.
scenes. I'm assuming the matchmaker, he's probably got lots of contacts, and I imagine when he's trying to find a fight, he'll probably like put the name out there to multiple, and then see who comes back with yeses, and then kind of choose what he thinks is going to make the most exciting fight for the fans, like
Yeah,
the
yeah.
best stylistic matchup. I'm imagining that's what goes on. That's the kind of way I'd think I'd
So
do
you
it.
know, you'll know that you're definitely fighting. It's just a case of
Yeah,
who you're fighting.
yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Right. So you're like dialed in at the minute, or you're going to take
Yeah.
a bit of time to.
No, I've been dialed in for like the
Yeah.
last week or so. Yeah.
Did you have a bit of time off?
Yeah, I took a full week off training Just trained twice that week after the fight.
That's a full week off, by the way.
Yeah, just like the social
just
side of
train
training.
twice.
Just train twice. That's a full week off.
I just like enjoyed my food, a bit of family time, and that was really nice. And then after that, straight back to it.
Right.
Eating better and training.
What is like that cheat meal? Like, what's your go-to?
Oh, Abdul's for me, mate.
Abdul's.
Yeah, I
Hey,
absolutely
that's
love
a
it.
topic of conversation.
And
this
it
week.
was.
He's
Best
never had
curry
one.
around.
You didn't
No way.
I had
gotta
one for
sell
the
him,
first
yeah.
time. What were it? You were a disaster. I didn't even tell you this. I was so pissed off. So I went.
I never replied to your
No, you
message,
didn't
did I?
reply about Curry. So
Oh, mate, I'm so sorry.
It's my fault for not listening to you properly. But because he told me, I asked, we were thinking of getting one. And I was like, so I asked these two, and they're like, obviously I've been. And then there were more like, why haven't you been?
Yeah,
They've been
yeah.
there that long. So I asked you what curry to get, and then I forgot. So I was like, it was Instagram on it. I messaged
Yeah,
you like,
oh,
what curry
mate, I
did you
just
say
feel
to
bad
get
now.
it? And yeah, I got it. So I just picked one, turned up, and it's always rammed in it. Like it's absolutely.
Yeah,
like, there
yeah,
must be
yeah.
some serious wedge there.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But walking out to the car, I got my curry, naan bread, poppadoms, fucking poppadoms blew away. Into the road. They just blew away into the road. I was just like, oh, fuck this.
That's so
Be another half hour to go back in and get some more.
Yeah. Oh, yeah,
Right,
easily.
I got down the
Literally.
steps.
That's a nightmare, man.
The woman behind the counter even went, watch poppadoms, it's windy. You know what I mean? Yeah, I'm alright. And got like 10 steps down. They were all,
Oh, she poppadoms, it's weird.
That's thinking should have been our best.
yeah, I was just like, well, obviously. And then got there and just watched him fucking
Like
straight-
a frisbee.
Yeah, just straight into the road. So, well, they're gone, not off back in.
That must happen often for her to say that.
I know, yeah.
So I don't feel too
Definitely.
bad.
So, oh, he's new, give him the warning.
Best part as well.
Don't say that, I was good. I had a pickle tray with no teeth.
Gosh, you did.
What did you rate the curry? Can I just ask? How was it?
Yeah, curry were good. Curry were good, yeah.
That's good.
Good to know.
That is good.
Poppadoms remain unscored at this point.
We'll have to go, mate. We'll have to go sometime soon.
We'll go. We'll go.
Definitely. What else
Right.
on the list, Mr. Wolf?
We've got. They weren't even on the list. Just got it from the top of my head. We've got one here. If your son was in your shoes 30 years from now, what advice would you give him?
Whoa,
That's a big
That is a
isn't it?
deep
How old is your
question,
son, by the way?
he's just about to turn 7 months, I believe.
7 months, right,
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
So would that
30
put
year
him?
old,
That'd
yeah,
put him
so-
around your age as well, wouldn't it?
Yeah, be around 30, wouldn't
Someone's done the research on that.
it? Yeah, close to my age. Mate, just be like, do what makes you happy, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, that's nice.
I think lots of people do lots of things like for money or whatever, or like to impress other people or whatever. I think like you just got to be like, do what makes you happy genuinely.
Mm.
I feel like you'll have a good life, won't you, whether you've got money or not.
Sick.
Like as long as
Yeah.
you've got enough to keep a roof over your head, you sound, aren't
Yeah.
you really? Oh yeah, that would be
I feel like
my
with you being obviously into MMA and stuff like that, and being a positive role model, he'd probably go into it, won't he? I'll do some
Yeah.
sort of training. You'd think anyway.
Mate, we have this topic of conversation often, and like
With the
I'd
missus.
look, with the
Yeah.
missus. She'd like him to train as well. Don't know how keen she is on the fighting aspect. I think she's pretty cool with it. Like she don't
Nice.
mind me doing it. Might be a different story if it came to it. You know, it's I
Yeah.
imagine pretty scary for a parent to watch the kid fight. But
Yeah.
like, I would never force him to do fighting, but I'd love him to train definitely. And if he wanted to fight, then I would help him do it and definitely support him and push him in it.
Yeah.
But it's a tough thing to do, and it's not for everybody. So, like, I wouldn't necessarily like force it upon him. But if it
I think
happens
that's
naturally
best
and
way,
that's what he
innit?
wants to
Yeah.
do, then absolutely.
Sick.
Yeah, you see lots of parents come to the gym and it's like fully forcing the kid to do it, mate. I see it often, and it's like you can tell the
Bad
kid
night,
don't want to
innit?
be there as well.
Serious, yeah.
And I'm like, what's the point? Like, they're not going to try hard. They're not really going to learn anything. And then I see parents do it the other way, where I can tell they're giving the kid the option to come or not, and they love it. And you can
Yeah.
tell they're choosing
Yeah.
to be there, and it's their thing. It's like sound, but like it's not for everybody.
No.
Like, especially at that age when they're kids, you know, it's.
Do you ever
like-
speak to the parents and be like, look, it's just not for him? Or do you just kind of go, well, it's kind of their choice?
It's their choice, yeah. It's their choice, and you're kind of crossing a fine line whether you're like telling someone how to parent the kid, then aren't you? So it's like a bit of a touchy subject, I feel like. But you know, I'll generally just go with what they want to do. Like if they want to bring the kid, and then I'll let them bring them. But you know, if it means they're not progressing as fast, that's their problem, I suppose.
Have you even had them in like a 1-to-1 where they've brought a kid that don't want to learn in a 1-to-1, or has it always been in the class environment?
Yeah, always the class environment, to be honest.
That's probably
in fact,
a bit
barring
easier.
one, I had one guy who used to bring a guy to me. I think the kid was like 16, 17 when he started coming to me. Mate, he used to make him spar me. Like, the dad, like, and then I had to say something to him. I'm like, mate, I ain't doing this no more. Like, he used to ask me to spar him. I said, yeah, mate, I'll spar no problem. He used to go nice and light and steady, obviously, and just be playful, take the mick a bit, let him work. And then one time his dad was just like shouting stuff from the side, and like he's like they were from somewhere else, obviously originally, or different heritage because I was speaking a different language, so I didn't know what was getting said, which made me feel really uncomfortable. And he were like fully shouting at him, and I was just like, look, mate, like take your stuff, take your money, and go.
Serious.
Like we ain't training together no more. Like I ain't doing this. Like I feel like I'm abusing your son. Do you know what I mean? Like it's ridiculous. Yeah, it was a mad one.
Do you ever going through their heads like while they're doing that? So like,
it's normally the parents' insecurity. Like I feel like with any sport, it's the same we see it with like football dads, don't you? Like they didn't do very well at football and they love football, so they force the kid to play football.
That's
and
exactly
they're like
where my head was going when you were telling me.
barking
I was thinking
instructions
about
at him.
lads who I used to play with.
Like they've got to be amazing, they've got to be a professional and that. And it's like, mate, does he even want to play football? Like you might not want to. Do you know what I mean? And it's like I say, you get the same in this game. Like you get people who've been the kid like multiple times a week, and you just think like, do they even like want to come? Or
maybe sort of living their unfulfilled desires
Absolutely.
vicariously through the children.
Absolutely, mate. I think it's a very common thing in parenting that I do.
With the 1-to-1s, do you enjoy doing 1-to-1s with more skillful fighters, or do you enjoy seeing a beginner and progressing them?
Yeah, mate. Normally for me, mate, it's if I get on with the person I'm teaching. If I'm honest, that's how how much I'll enjoy the session. Because if they come with me for 1-to-1s, especially if they're long term, and like I've got guys that train me 3 times a week for 1-to-1s sometimes.
Right.
And it's like, mate, if I don't like them as a human being, like I'm quite fortunate now. Where there was a time when I was starting the gym where I needed the money, so I would have just like gritted my teeth and got on with it. Whereas now, if I don't like them, mate, I will just like say, just make an excuse for the next session. I'll just be like, look, mate, like here's your money back. I'm too busy, I can't do that session anymore. Or whatever. Right. So I can be a bit more picky now. But yeah, generally I say like, just as long as I click with the person, like whether they're a professional or an amateur or just want to learn and they're a hobbyist and a beginner, like I'll enjoy the session and how much like I get on with them.
You're not too bothered about if shit or if they're absolutely
like it doesn't bother me that much. Like don't get me wrong, it's harder when like they've got no. It's like you show somebody and you think of different analogies if they're struggling with a technique. I imagine it's similar with the guys that do the weights. Like, you know, if you want them to engage a certain muscle more, you try to think, how can I tell him to do that? And you go through like, I might have like 4 different analogies in my head that normally work on somebody to be like, oh, if I explain it this way, you'll probably get it.
Yeah.
And you've gone through them all and they're still not getting it. And you're like, oh my God, what do I do? Like, you do have them moments like, and it can be frustrating, but at the same time, like I say, if the chat's good and I get on with them well, then like I'm happy, you know, like, and I'll still enjoy the session.
Do you see yourself as a coach or a fighter? If someone asked you,
someone's asked me that.
if someone asked you,
if someone asked
what
me
would you reply?
Well, right now I'd say a fighter, yeah, definitely,
fighter.
yeah, fighter first, 100%. Don't get me wrong, I love coaching, and like as soon as I'm done with fighting, I'll 100% switch all my time and effort that I used to spend for my own training and fighting into being like the best coach you can be.
A pretty good coach. Like people travel hundreds of miles to come.
I don't know about hundreds of miles. I've had a few people come from far.
Yeah.
But yeah, mate, it's good. I love coaching, and I think it actually helps my fighting.
Yeah,
because like, and because
reinforcing your own beliefs.
Absolutely. Technique. And I started early on with the coaching, teaching the kids kickboxing at the gym I started at with my kickboxing.
Yeah.
So I'd started coaching early days, and then from there I soon started taking like adults classes for them and stuff. So like even when I was still learning myself like the higher end skills, I was teaching the basics to other people. It was giving me a better understanding of it myself, because I think I like do it that well and talk them through it that well. Like, oh, what am I actually doing when I do that? And I actually have to sit there and think about myself and analyse my own body movements and body mechanics. And then I feel like that's made me better as a competitor and a martial artist.
Well, I think just watching the reels that you post where you're coaching and there's like 30, 40 people stood around watching you, I think you are very good at it. very good at it. Because I can imagine there's a lot of fighters who either wouldn't have the confidence to go up there and show everyone in there through what they're doing, or just don't have the skill to teach it properly. Because I've got mates who are really good, like Geordie. He's mint when he's doing one-to-one coaching. I always say to him, mate, you're actually a natural at this, but to have the fighting ability and the coaching as well, obviously.
Yeah.
They're not always like the same thing, are they? Like a good fighter ain't always a good teacher.
Absolutely,
and vice versa. You get some that maybe aren't the best fighter, but are really good at putting stuff across.
Absolutely, mate. Like I've got a coach, a boxing coach that I work with for my fighting, Stu, and he's not like fought a lot. I think he's done a couple of amateur boxing fights as a kid. And other than that, he's just spent the whole time coaching, and he's a phenomenal coach. I love working with him. He's really good. But like, if you were to ask him about his fighting, he's not really done it. Do you know what I mean? But like, he makes a phenomenal
the game.
Yeah, but I think guys like that are few and far between. I feel like they're like the outlier. I feel like in general, like they need to have had some level of experience of like been in there, and I've set that as my standard for the gym. Like, I'll not give anyone. So I do gradings in kickboxing, and it gets laughed at mainly from karate, really. Karate watered it all down, and now like you were saying, like everybody says the karate black belt, because it's that easy to get one these days. Like, you go join a gym, they'll normally say, oh yeah, it's a money-making thing. They'll say like, oh yeah, it's $2,000, you can go on the fast track course. You'll train 3 times a week and we'll get you to black belt in a year. And it's like, they don't even know how good you are. Yeah. And they've already guaranteed me in a year, as long as I attend the sessions they've told me to, I will be given my black belt. So I've just bought it.
Is that more specifically karate then, or is that?
Yeah, the kickboxing gyms do that as well.
They're serious.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and they give them out easy. Like, it's the easiest martial art to get to black belt in. Yeah. Like, jiu-jitsu is a long time, and it's generally, if the gym's reputable, it's generally given out on ability. Yeah. So like, you could come and train at a jiu-jitsu gym for 12 years. And if you ain't a blue belt, you're not a blue belt. Do you know what I mean? If you're still white belt level, you're still a white belt.
That's how it should be.
Yeah.
Isn't there normally like it's still an ability, but in the normally like a minimum time you have to have been on a belt for?
Yes.
Like, before you can get promoted.
Absolutely. That's normally a dumb thing as well. I think it's more like the old school way of doing things. I've definitely seen some guys in recent years who are very good as well. So they fully are the level of belt they've received, but maybe got to blue and then got to purple like within a year or something, or within 6 months, which is a really short space of time. But they are absolutely that good. So I feel like it's the old school way of doing things. But yeah, it's definitely a thing that.
Does your reputation of the gym lie on that? Like how easily you give out belts? Because I've heard Joe Rogan, he'll be speaking and he'll say, oh, so-and-so's got a black belt from wherever. As in, like, that's fucking mint. Because it's a harder black belt to get.
Yeah, who gives them out.
Whatever gym it is, yeah.
Definitely. Like, I've got some really talented lads in the gym at the minute that are sitting at about green and purple belt on my kickboxing grading. And I've tried to, like, take the jiu-jitsu approach into the way that I grade the adults now. So the kids, I still do a grading day to give them something to aim for. And I give them, like, a criteria list of set things that I expect them to be able to do, and then on the day they've got to come and do it almost a bit like an exam, and then I'll score them. Whereas with the adults now, they just don't know, like, the whole time they're training me, I'm like constantly assessing them, like thinking like, right, that's the standard I expect a yellow belt to be at, and I won't give somebody a yellow belt till they can hold themselves at that level. And a lot of the time it's like the sparring that I see, or the way they throw the punches or whatever, and the pad work, how they hold themselves. So I've tried to like copy a little bit the way the jiu-jitsu guys do things, to try and give it a bit more legitimacy. So if someone gets a black belt from me from the kickboxing, like, they're gonna be fucking good. Yeah. And like, I almost want it to where, like, if I give them a black belt, I'm almost saying like they could run my gym for me and I would be at peace that they're gonna teach to a good standard and they know the stuff. So like, I've made it like they've got to have had one fight. They won't get a black belt otherwise, because I feel like to be a good coach, like, they've had to have at least experienced it once. Because like it's all well and good. Fight. You might have seen that reel going round of is it Eubank's dad, where he's saying like these days the coaches are like PE teachers and stuff like that. And he's saying like they're telling me to cross the road and it's traffic or something, and I'm saying like, no, I've got to walk down to the bridge or whatever. And I get what he's saying. It's like, if you've not been in there and experienced a fight, you might be telling me like, right, you need to do your jab, your slip, and then these counters. And then like, I'll try it in sparring, I'm like, just don't feel right. Or like in fight, I'm like, nah, it's not there. Like, I know it's not there. I feel it in there. And it's like hard to get that across if you've not experienced it, or understanding how hard it is as well to do some of the stuff, you know, like actually pull it off in a ring.
Yeah.
Like it's difficult, and I think it's again going back to that thing where everybody thinks it's easy. Mate, I'll tell you now, it is hard. Like, you think you're fighting another lad who's trained majority of his life probably to fight, and then for the last 8 weeks he's been training solely to fight you, and you think you're going to just walk in there and land like fucking a 3-piece combination on him unscathed without him landing anything on you. Like, I think people's perception of it are different, you know what I mean? So I feel like if they've had the fight and they've got the skills to back it as well, then like,
so
I
they
feel
can
like,
do it in training and then obviously replicate it in a fight.
then I'd be happy to give him a black belt. And then again, for me, I feel like giving him a black belt's almost giving him permission to, like, right, you could leave my gym and go set your own up, and I'd be like proud of you. Do you know what I mean? That's the way I want it to be.
How many have you given?
0.
0.
Yeah. So like
Holding the value.
my best, my most advanced student by a long way is Joel Scully at the minute, and he's a purple belt under me.
Does he? He orders from Wolfsups, doesn't he?
Yeah, I think he.
So
he
he ordered a tub of hydrate.
He might have done.
today.
Yeah, he was asking me about he was asking me about it. To be fair,
That name was just like
hydration stuff. Yeah.
So
Yeah,
he's
on a label.
what belt's he on?
He's on purple. So the kickboxing gradings go in our gym anyway. It's yellow, orange, green, blue, purple, brown, black. So there's 7 gradings, and he's on purple. So he'll be brown next, and then black.
Right.
And he's already fought, so he's not got that issue. Like, he's already fought quite a few times now. Really good fighter.
Yeah.
Definitely one to watch for
Sick.
the future. He's only 16 now, and skill level wise, he's phenomenal. I've got a few young lads. Like, I've got Ryan Olds as well, who's really good.
Yeah.
He's 14 currently. Again, he's had a few fights already. So when he grades, he won't have the issue of like, oh, the daunting feeling of having to fight to get your black belt. Like, he'll have already done it. But yeah, we've got some really good talent. It's nice because like homegrown talent, they've come to my gym with either little or no experience before. So it's like from grassroots, which is nice because I feel like them 2 boys in particular, I've got a few other good lads as well that are showing promise. But them 2, I really feel like could do something with it, you know, like UFC kind of stuff.
Far.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. They've got the skill level and the IQ already. You know, and it's like now it's just like getting the results and the maturity over the next few years, and I feel like they could.
Would you ever look at managing your fighters?
No, mate. I feel like I would leave that to managers. Like, I would just coach, like, stick to what I know. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know how to manage like a fighter, to be honest. So I feel like it'd be something I'd just leave to them.
No, fairs.
Yeah.
Any plans with the business going forward?
Mate, I'd love to move to a bigger gym.
Right.
Yeah, I'd love to. At the minute, I can't. Like, we don't earn enough at the minute.
Right.
I'm doing the best we've ever done in terms of members and stuff like that. So it's in a really good place. Like, it's healthy, yeah. But yeah, I'd like somewhere slightly bigger because like the gym area downstairs is sound for what we need. It's more for the PTs to use, and then Racco, he takes some like S&C classes down there for the members, but they're like fairly small classes, so the space is all right.
Is that like the weights section?
Area, yeah. And then like upstairs is the matted area for the martial arts, which is a good space, especially for his first unit. But like,
it looks like a decent size space.
Ideally for me, I'd want that doubled and then space for a cage as well.
Right.
That's the dream. If I could get that, I won't ever get anything bigger, because I feel like I'd only ever want maybe like 30 people on the mat at once, maybe slightly over that, for like a maximum capacity of a class, because I just feel like with that amount of people you can get around everybody and help them, and like the level of the room will definitely progress and be good, and the level of tuition I can give them is like worthwhile. I think if you get into like 40 and 50 people on the mat, like how are you going to get around everybody and like
so you've essentially got 30 people sparring 1-to-1 in there?
Yeah, so you'd have like 15 pairs,
that.
you go around, obviously you demonstrate, like the videos you've seen, like demonstrate the technique, then go around. As I set them off with the drill, I put a timer on. So they'll do the drill for X amount of time, and then I'll go around and like obviously give people feedback as they're doing the drill. If anyone's really struggling with anything, try and like help them through that round. And then
I suppose you'd have to have 2 coaches, wouldn't you? If you had
if you got super
60,
busy.
70 people.
Absolutely.
But then you lose that personal element.
Exactly, mate. That's the thing. At the end of the day, it's like I was speaking to some friends and the missus about this previously, like trying to like, obviously now I've got my son, I'm trying to train to fight, maybe like getting some other people to take some of the classes for me, so I just really have to be there. And when I've tried to do that in the past, like those classes end up being really poorly attended, and it's like ultimately like people come up Powerhouse to train with me.
Yeah.
Do you know, like,
Yeah.
and it's like
Your
you've got
house,
to
man.
understand that you're the business. Like,
Yeah.
you know, you are the product, and yes, like you might get somebody else to like a good level of coaching, but until they've proven it themselves that to other people at that level, like people aren't necessarily going to jump at that.
Mate, you've got to have those dreams, aren't you? Like, you know, we say this a lot when we go out and do gym reviews. Like, you'll go to some places and it's like you can tell that, you know, they've got to a certain size, a certain level, a certain amount of members, and they're just kind of, that's it. Then they kind of give up on it, and it's a bit of a dead dream. But to actually have that kind of motivation to get bigger, get more space, get more members, and accommodate for more people, like, you know, you're obviously working for it, and it's good to hear, man. It's positive. It's good.
Just
stuff.
from everyone we've spoke to
Yeah.
on the podcast so far, everyone seems to manifest the future.
Yeah, they do.
So you just saying that there
yeah,
gives
it's-
me 99% confidence that you will have a bigger gym at some point. It's fucking weird how it works, isn't it?
yeah.
time.
I also feel like if they're self-employed, like, and have been self-employed for a long period of time, like yourself, like you've got to be like pretty motivated and pretty driven.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I feel like you've got that where you like you'll kind of make it at all costs. You know, like
But it's just momentum.
you'll make it
innit?
work, and stuff will fail, won't it? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I've had months in the gym where, mate, I've had like 30 members on the books, so that doesn't even cover our rent. So I've been PTing to then pay the rent. Do you know what I mean? And then my take-home wage has been like pathetic. Do you know, some months. Whereas now, like, I'm nowhere near that position. I'm quite comfortable now. But like again, you could easily quit there. You could easily go like, it's not worked out. Not for me. I'll get a 9 to 5, whatever, and I'll just train myself. Like I'll give up on the coaching or whatever.
They were like that
Like-
early days at shop, mate.
Yeah, yeah,
Cliche in it, but anything that's worth having, you've got to work to get it, haven't you?
Yeah.
yeah, definitely.
Even just us, like, moving into this place, like, started from like just a tiny little idea in the shop, and then we ended up coming in here.
Yeah,
and
we could have
it's-
easily sacked it off.
Yeah,
couldn't we? Yeah,
it's so
we had
easily.
one when we had his first client in, and give us. We were joking about it the other day, but they used to give us 20 quid.
Yeah, yeah.
Now we charge like what, 185 an hour
Yeah,
for
yeah.
some packages,
Yeah,
and
of
we used to
course.
get them in and charge. They used to pay us 20 quid just
20
because
quid
we were
cash in
happy
hand.
to have them in there.
Yeah.
I mean, fuck.
It's mad.
We're probably
innit?
losing money on
yeah,
Lecky, to be
definitely the
honest.
amount of work you're doing as well.
Yeah,
the
yeah.
hours you're putting into edit, all and that. No, it's a sick setup you've got here, though, boys. To be fair,
Sure,
it's
appreciate
class.
it, man.
It's good to see you doing well as well. Like you were mentioning about doing the mobile stuff and getting out doing the gym videos and that. It's good to be growing.
We just
the
like,
business.
I just want to enjoy it, mate.
Yeah,
I took a bit of a backseat a few months ago and kind of just analysed everything, and I was just worn out. And I thought, you know what, it's not even worth driving myself to this point anymore. So I'm just going to try and enjoy it, and we'll just get out every Monday, close shop, go enjoy yourself for a bit, and obviously doing stuff like this as well.
Honestly, you do right, and then I just feel like the way you are as a person, your personality will come across way better when you're doing those activities then as well. Like when you're in the shop, you'll be happier being in the shop, won't you, with your clients
Instead
and stuff.
of just battered all the
Instead
time.
of thinking like, if someone comes in and you're like tired and you try to like make conversation, like it's noticeable, innit?
Yeah,
like
yeah,
whereas
100%.
when someone comes in, like every time I've been in, you've been like super enthusiastic and like chatty and stuff. Like that's what like gives you that right repeat custom, doesn't it?
Yeah.
100%.
You'll have to come in when he's here, mate.
Yeah.
Vibes always popping when I'm
It
in.
is.
yeah.
Tom gets it popping.
Yeah. If Rufus is there, mate. If Rufus is there,
Yeah, man.
If Rufus is there, my stress levels are slightly
yeah.
elevated.
That's so funny. I'm always looking for him when I come in. I'm like, is he here today? Looking over
Everyone
the counter.
does, mate. People come to the shop to see
He
Rufus,
fucking
not you.
cannonballed someone today, didn't he? It was Brookie. Keith Brookie.
Oh,
Yeah.
He was piss wet through, just been out. Rufus sprints at him. We were like, fucking hell, he nearly knocked me over there.
I've done that to many Rufus.
He's a tank,
Yeah.
yeah. So what's the dream going forward, fighting wise, mate?
I fight. I absolutely love to be in the UFC. Obviously, I'm under no illusions as well. I'm 32 now. I don't want to fight when I'm like 40 years old. You know, like I was saying about Ferguson and that.
Yep.
Yeah.
I don't want to be that guy either. But I'm quite fortunate. I've not took a lot of damage in my career up to now. So I feel like I've definitely got a few brain cells left that I can have plenty more fights. But
You can string a few sentences.
yeah,
together,
that's
you're
it.
ahead of most.
Ahead of me.
So yeah, UFC would definitely be the ultimate goal. But really, mate, I'm just like, aiming for that, but like even getting to where I am now, I never even expected to get to it. Like I said before, I started doing kickboxing, mate, because I wanted to lose a bit of weight.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And then like I look at where I am now and I'm like, fucking hell, how have I got this far? Do you know what I mean? It's mad to look back at. So, mate, if I had to retire tomorrow for whatever reason, like I would do so happy. Do you know what I mean? Like I wouldn't be like, oh, I wish I'd done this or I wish I'd done that. Like I'd be like, yeah, went at it and just give it my all, and I got to that level. Do you know what I mean? And it is what it is. But I think it's definitely within reach. Like I feel like a few more fights, I could be like title contention on Cage Warriors, and genuinely speaking, like that puts you in good stead of getting signed to the UFC. And even without that, mate, like some of the boys get signed from Cage Warriors without winning the belt.
Yeah.
It's just if opportunity strikes at the right time, they might be looking for guys at your weight class fighting on, like, say, a European card. They need European guys to fight. It's easier for them logistically. So sometimes that's when they sign some new people. So you just never know.
I can see it, bro.
I'd love to see it, man.
Yeah, it'd be awesome.
Me too, mate. I think I would be the first guy to have his name announced, like, from Wakefield on the commentary, mate, which is a big feel for me.
Got to do it.
Some
Well,
lads in Wakefield as well.
Yeah, solely one of them. Nah, mate, we wish you the best of luck, and
Cheers, man.
yeah, you're fucking smashing it, man. So
We'll see you in Newcastle.
That's
in the team, mate.
That's it. Thank you. Pleasure, man.
it.
You too, man.